Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hot damn, it's a good day because we're talking Henry Cavill and Superman. Oh, lots of other stuff. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we celebrate Henry Cavill. And joining me here celebrating Henry Cavill as well as one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, you know, it is a glorious day. We've been talking about being able to celebrate Henry Cavill returning as Superman. I mean, we know he's going to return as Superman this week.
Yes, he is.
But that's only that's just a little bite of the apple.
No, that's just the harbinger of things to come.
Harbinger, it's a good way to put it. And boy, I'm excited, John. I'm excited. I put these two hot toys on this desk in anticipation that we might get good news. Who knew how prophetic it would be?
And, of course, we're going to get the Henry Cavill stuff a little bit later. Also joining you guys in the live chat here today, sitting back there, we got Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing?
Guess what I watched last night?
No.
Morbius.
Did you see
No,
Morbius?
you did not finish it.
No, I moved on from Morbius. Clerks 3.
Oh!
How was it?
How did you watch Clerks 3 before I
It's a
did?
beautiful movie.
That's what I keep hearing. I hear it's so good.
mean, the music that they used was music that I would listen to in high school, and it's like really, really emo, like very sad. That's why I stopped listening to it. I only listen to music with stripper poles and strippers in it now.
Like a Lords of Acid?
Yeah. But back in high school, it was always about the girl that broke your heart, or you're by yourself, or, those guitar, whatever. But the movie itself, it actually is very self-reflective. You start looking back at your own life.
Well, I mean,
And,
that was one of the reasons I love Clerks 2 so much, is they did a lot of that. So, okay, thank you for the recommendation.
well
I gotta get
done.
on
Did
that.
you use
done.
John's accounts? Did you charge him?
He's probably did. All right, sitting beside him, of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
Cool, calm, and collected, John.
And of course,
Cool,
you got a
calm,
little bit of a
collected.
Taylor in the background there.
We got a
Albert
little
in the
Taylor.
background.
He's just a little guy.
The little one.
And also joining us today, Kaylee Robinson's here today, ladies and gentlemen. Kaylee, good to have you here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Her first day in here today. And of course, most importantly, you guys are here joining us today. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. The first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. The way that happens is thus. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. That'll be your time to fire in your thoughts, theories, opinions, and questions, and we will read those off in the second half of the show. Also, want to let you guys know a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Los Angeles time, we're going to be doing an open mic, me and Robert Meyer Burnett. That's where it's just more laid back, and all we do is take your questions and thoughts. So make sure you guys come on back and join us for that. All right, guys. With that down, we got a bunch of things to get to here. So let's start with a couple of off the tops. And the first one is this. According to Myth, there is a Flash movie coming in the first part of next year.
So they say.
And so they say there's a possibility that the star of the movie may be in prison while the movie premieres. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Of course, we talked about that. And Ezra's legal troubles right now. But would it surprise you, Rob, to find out that not only has Warner Brothers been contemplating a second movie, they actually commissioned a screenwriter to actually write and complete a script for Flash 2. That is the news that's coming to us right now. This one is coming to us from Screen Rant, which you can see here. According to the reports, Warner Brothers actually commissioned, now I want to get his name right, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. I'm just going to call him Stinky. So Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, and Stinky's easier to remember. Who walks around with four names? Anyway.
McGoldrick's kind of cool, though.
McGoldrick, I would just go by that. Then he could be a Bond villain.
Yeah.
That's a great Bond villain last name.
It's kind of a cross between Austin Powers and Bond.
Yes.
McGoldrick.
I like it. So he has written scripts for things like for Aquaman. He wrote the script for Aquaman 2. He wrote a whole bunch of episodes for The Walking Dead. He wrote the script for Conjuring 2, which I think is my favorite of the Conjuring movies. So he's got some pedigree.
Legit.
Here. And working in the realm of comic book movies, he wrote the first Aquaman, which I know you had a hell of a lot of fun with.
I did.
I enjoyed it as well. So apparently they've gone ahead and signed him up, and he has written and has completed a script for Flash 2. Now,
Maybe they wanted to get it done fast.
I see what you did there. So they decided to go ahead and do this. Now, what's interesting here is that the article goes on to say that obviously they're going to wait to see how the first movie performs. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer, yes. But what I like about this, Rob, a lot, is that if the movie ends up being successful, because from all reports that we're hearing, the dude made a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like he made, all reports are that the movie's actually quite good. Like Ezra Miller drama aside, the director made a very good movie. That's the reports. What I really like about this is that if the movie does well, they're ready to go. Like it's not that point where it's like, oh, this one did really well. Okay, well, let's commission a script getting written. Let's take 5, 6, 7 months to see how a new script comes together. And if it gets, they got it ready to go. And I like that they'd be able to then move fairly quickly on another one if they did. So Rob, a couple questions for you.
Uh-oh.
One, does it surprise you to hear that they've already had a script written for Flash 2? Number two, what do you think the chances are of us getting that Flash 2? And then number three, is there any chance in Hades that Ezra Miller is that Flash when that second Flash movie gets made?
Well, first of all, I think the way the business works, obviously, people, before they spend money, they want to make sure that the first money that they've spent, the initial money, they get a return on.
Absolutely.
And I totally understand that. But in this day and age where you're building a franchise, I would think that they would build the expense of potentially writing a second script, paying a writer to have a second script ready to go so you don't have to wait for that lag time.
I agree.
Between movies. And especially when you have an effects-heavy film, it's in post for a year. And a great script is a great script. It's self-evident. So it makes sense to me that they've done this. It's not surprising, especially because Flash has been delayed, whether it was because of the pandemic or the effects pipeline issues they have. I think it was a good thing that they did this. And I'm surprised more films, especially the Marvel movies, superhero films in general, why this isn't par for the course. Do I think, what was the second question before Ezra coming back?
I don't know. It's almost
The same thing. Well, I mean, look, I think it's a good practice, good business practice. It makes sense. Will Ezra Miller come back? I mean, like you say, winning cures everything. And it depends how big of a win it is. Like if the Flash were to make $1 billion, it would be very difficult to say, let's change that formula. I mean, $1 billion is $1 billion.
He'd have to be innocent and not in prison.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. I think there's a little bit.
And why are you petitioning for Ezra Miller's release? Well, Your Honor, the movie made $1 billion.
And look, because it made $1 billion, that makes it easier to recast too, because people will go say, "Hey, it's Flashpoint." Who knows? He can change into Grant Gustin. I don't know, but I do think that it's going to, whether Ezra Miller comes back, whether Ezra Miller has a career moving forward, he has to be exonerated. He has to apologize more. He has to show us that he's done the work. And even then, do they want him to come back? Because, you know, people who have problems, there's recidivism. It happens again. So I think the chances are slim.
All right. Well, as far as I'm doing this again, this is a great move. Chances that Ezra Miller comes back. I'm going to go back to the Bard and quote the great scribe Vincent McMahon when he said,
He's the Bard, huh?
"No chance in hell. This movie could make $3 billion at the box office."
here's an easy fix. You know what you do? You say he aged and you hire Justin Long. Justin Long is our new Flash.
Justin Long, listen, I think Justin Long should be an A-list major actor.
He's in the midst of a long assance. There is a long assance happening.
I've been calling him to be the next big actor for whatever. He hasn't really worked out, but I love Justin Long. Anyway, back to this. $3 billion at the box office. Doesn't matter. $4 billion at the box office. Does not
You're probably
matter.
right.
They are not going to go back to Ezra Long. Ezra Long. I just created
Ezra Long.
I ship it. They are not going to go back to Ezra Miller. No chance in hell. Because even if it wasn't for the fact that this individual has caused so much pain and drama and cost them money and all that kind of stuff on this one, you brought it up. There is no way that they can believe for even a second that they won't do it again. Of course they're going to do it again. Because they did it, got caught on tape. You figure, will that be the end of it when he choked that woman? And you figure that'll be the end of that. No, not for Ezra Miller. I'm going to go into Utah or wherever the fuck state he went to, and I'm going to start a gun concubine on some farm with you. No, that wasn't enough either. I'm going to get this girl who I've been grooming since I was whatever age, and I'm going to steal her away from her family. That was enough. No. Esmeralda goes, you know what? I'm thirsty. I'm going to break into that house and I'm going to steal their booze.
Yeah, I mean,
and you think, after time, there's no way they don't think he's going to do it
Listen,
again.
the guy's a completionist. That's all. You play the
He's a
video games, you got to do
completionist.
everything in the game. He's got to do every crime.
I guess when they have messianic tendencies, until the second coming happens, which, by the way, is precipitated by you, of course,
Of course.
or them, then, things might change.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, question is for you guys. What do you think? They've written the script for the second film, which I think is a brilliant move to be ready to, hey, listen, if this Flash movie flops, whatever. You say, okay, we spent a couple $100,000, maybe $1 million on getting the script made, got to throw it away. But if it works out, well, you're ahead of the game already. You got a script written. That's great. But there's no chance Ezra Miller comes back. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. One of the films that I have been dying to see is the Banshees of Inisherin. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing Inisherin right. I think I am, but it might not be. You're talking about the In Bruges team getting back together here.
The whole team.
The whole team. Started from the bottom, now we're here, to quote the bard Drake. Good Canadian kid, by the way. So you got Colin Farrell. You got Brendan Gleeson. You got McDonough, the director. By the way, if you have not seen his film, Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, you got to watch it. It's insane.
It's great.
They produced something stellar in Bruges. And now they've got the Banshees of Inisherin coming back. Well, here's something interesting. When the first reviews for a movie start coming out, sometimes we get excited when we say, so far, a movie's holding 100% after like a dozen reviews or 18. I mean, it never holds. But, after 18, 19, 20 reviews, it's holding 100%. Inevitably, once it gets to 30 or 40 or 50, there are a few negative ones come in, right? This is interesting. On Rotten Tomatoes right now, the Banshees of Inisherin has 80 reviews and counting. And it's holding 100%. I cannot remember, and I mean that literally, I can't remember the last time a wide release film had over 50 reviews and still held 100%. It's happened. I just can't remember the last time it happened. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
And the reviews aren't just, like with Rotten Tomatoes, you can just have somebody go, hey, that's good. And that's enough for one of the clicks to the positive, right? But when you go through and start looking at the reviews, they're like, this is the best performance of Colin Farrell's career. This is the best performance of Brendan Gleeson's career. This movie is a masterpiece. This movie is one of the best films you're going to see this year, on and on and on. And the basic idea is simple. It's these guys who live on this little island south of Ireland, and they've been friends, I guess, for 30 years, and the one guy just decides they don't want to be friends anymore. And that's the premise of the movie. And it's like, sign me up. I mean, just watching these two banter back and forth, that's good enough for me. Anyway, Rob, you're seeing the reviews coming out for Banshee here. What do you think?
Well, first of all, any movie that has Ireland involved or even an island south of Ireland and pints of ale, I'll see it.
That's a win.
That to me, that's it. That's all
Just
I
add
need in
ninjas.
my life. But the idea, John, I'm always talking about authorship and some kind of an intellectual draw. I love the idea that somebody just decides one day, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And why, I'm sure part of the movie is about why is this so? I like that idea. That to me is such a brilliant, simple premise that, I mean, you could explore all kinds of modern life through that very premise. And what happens like when you're on the receiving end of that? What do you mean you don't want to be friends with me anymore? Like in our culture today, I think this is not something, because how many times do we pretend to be friends with people that we just don't really like anymore for whatever reason?
Well, I have you in here every day.
Well, that's what are you going to do? Come on, the viewers would revolt, wouldn't they? But no, I mean, I think the premise is good, and I really want to see it for that reason. And of course, this team, dude, I love In Bruges.
Oh, yeah.
And Three Billboards, I love that as well. And I think, what's great is the characters in those films, irresistible. You go see those films and you immediately immerse yourself in the lives of these characters and you can't take your eyes off the screen.
And this thing's got a bit of a twist. And it's like something as simple as a couple guys live in a small community. One just decides not to be friends with the other. That's the base of the movie.
Yeah.
But there's a twist that's in the trailer where Brendan Gleeson's trying to tell Colin Farrell, I just don't want to be friends with you anymore. And he won't leave him alone. He just keeps trying to get it to work. So Brendan Gleeson, this is the big twist. He puts an ultimatum. He says, okay, here's what we're going to do. Brendan Gleeson says to Colin Farrell, I got a big pair of shears at my place. Every time you bother me, I'm going to cut off one of my own fingers. And then it's like, well, now what does Colin Farrell do? So that's the big twist. If you actually care about the guy, you can't keep bothering him, but he's your lifelong friend. I don't know. Now I'm dying to see this. I can't wait to see this.
It's like a Twilight Zone episode.
I think it sounds great. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about the sounds? It's holding 100%. The Banshees of Inisherin, 100%. I believe it opens this weekend right now on Rotten Tomatoes with like 80 reviews. I'm sure it's not going to hold 100%. Like once we get over 150, but I don't know. Like so far, it's pretty good. What do you guys think about it? Are you looking forward to this film? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. Before we continue, we're going to take just a quick break here for a second and thank one of the sponsors of our show. I've taken so many of the classes on this thing. I love this service. Our friends at MasterClass. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MasterClass. You guys know we have been sponsored by MasterClass and we love them here at the John Campea Show for giving us in-depth information on a wide variety of topics from the world's best experts. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn the art of filmmaking from James Cameron, improve your cooking skills from Gordon Ramsay, or learn how to make compelling YouTube videos from Marquise Brownlee. With over 150 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. I was recently watching through the independent filmmaking course by Spike Lee, and I found it fascinating that not only did he cover the broader topics like working with actors, but he also gets into finer details like working with a cinematographer and how to properly audition a DP for your project. It was fascinating. So guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And thank you to our friends at MasterClass. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So by all means, go sign up for MasterClass. Go down to the description of this video. Right near the top, you're going to see links to all of our sponsors and their promo codes. And once again, thanks to the folks at MasterClass. All right, Kaylee, what do we got up next?
Next up, we will go to our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have any questions and want to get your voice heard on the show, go to this phone number on the screen. It's 951-268-4259. And our first question comes from Devin. He's asking about Robert Downey Jr. being in the Avengers Secret Wars.
Hey, John and crew, this is Nader from New York. Huge fan. Thanks for everything you guys do. My question is in regards to Avatar: Way of Water, and do you guys think this will be the movie that could bring back 3D as a concept? Because we do know that 3D movies haven't really been as big as they were as a few years back, so maybe this could be the movie that will help, as these movies were filmed for IMAX screens, so maybe they're meant to be filmed in 3D. So what do you guys think? Could this be the movie that brings back 3D again? Thanks, and keep doing what you do.
Well, we obviously had a little bit of a mix-up there in our audio files because we accidentally played the wrong question there. So why don't we answer this question right now?
Yeah, why not? But who does it come from?
Nader called in and was asking about whether or not, like, can Avatar 2 revitalize 3D? I personally feel like the death of 3D is one of the best things to happen to movies in a long time. Listen to me closely, everybody. Repeat after me. 3D is a stupid gimmick. 3D is useless and pointless and dumb. Now, that being said, it's not like I've never enjoyed a good 3D. Paul Bettany's movie Priest. I actually enjoyed the 3D in that. Obviously, the first Avatar. I enjoyed the 3D in that. But I remember the first time I saw Avatar, I saw it in 3D. I'm like, that was, and I'm not a 3D fan, but I'm like, that was a good experience. Watching that in 3D, that was a good experience. But then I watched it again in a non-3D theater. I'm like, oh yeah, that was no less of an experience than watching it in the stupid 3D gimmick. And slowly but surely, the world realized that 3D was a stupid, useless gimmick. As less and less people bought their stupid, useless 3D DVD players and their 3D TVs. And now you're hard pressed. Like it used to be, there was a stretch for about 6 months there where like almost every TV they were trying to hawk on you at Best Buy and everything was a 3D TV. Almost every player they were trying to hawk on you was a 3D player. And guess what? Ain't nobody bought that shit. And then everybody stopped making them, except for Ray Ora. He bought that shit.
I did
and
too.
I think Rob did too. So look,
You want to leave, Rob? We should just get out of here. Want to have some lunch?
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. If any single movie can revitalize something as stupid as 3D, it is Avatar 2. James Cameron is the only person likened unto Cameron is George Lucas when it comes to filmmakers and creators who are trying to push the envelope of what technology can do. And if there is anybody that can get me to appreciate 3D in a movie, well, he did it once with the first Avatar. James Cameron's the guy who can get even me, the most jaded 3D hater, to get me to go, okay, yeah, that was something. He's the guy who can do it. Do I think this will actually spur a revitalization of 3D? Depends. If Avatar 2 cracks 2 billion again, which I don't think it will, it'll make a huge amount of money, but I don't see it breaking 2 billion, but maybe it can. If it does, Rob, there are going to be some real serious conversations that are going to be going on in studio executive suites about maybe we should look at a couple of our films and maybe do them in 3D. I mean, it's just a natural thing for them to do. So will it? I'm going to say I don't think so, but if any movie can, this is the one. Rob, what do you think?
Well, first of all, let me speak a little bit in defense of 3D.
Yes.
Now, the thing about 3D is Avatar was a film that was designed and shot
Very much so,
in
yeah.
3D. And in my mind, especially in 3D IMAX, was the single greatest use of 3D in the history of the medium. And 3D has been with us for quite some time in terms of Hollywood history, over 70 years now. So if it's done well, it can be, I think, great. And home 3D is terrific because it's bright enough. The big problem with 3D is studios saw Avatar and they wanted to cash in. So they were not shooting all the movies that were in 3D. They were post-converting them to cash in.
Right. Priest was a post-converted one, by the way, but it's
Right.
one of those rare ones that was post-converted with a lot of time and they did it right.
Yes, and if you look at certain home 3D titles like Top Gun, Titanic, Jurassic Park, they're post-conversions that are quite good, very effective. The problem was theaters that were projecting movies in 3D were not doing it correctly. The bulbs were dim, so you couldn't see the image. It was too dark. So people were paying a premium to see 3D titles, and they looked, quite frankly, like shit. And this is on the exhibitors and it's on the studios for not making sure that their 3D presentations were good. And that's what killed it. Now, it didn't necessarily kill it in other places. Like the Chinese were big on 3D for a long time. The Japanese were big on 3D. And home 3D, there's still people buying every week. They might be less than a percentage point of all the discs sold, but they're still buying them.
There's still people buying Rick
So-
Ashley albums too, by the way. Just want to throw
You know
that out
why
there.
they are, John? Because people are just never going to give Rick Astley up.
Never going to let you down.
He's never going to let you down. And I think
Rick rolled.
I think the wow, we just Rick rolled each other. John.
You did.
So
And now
I
it's
never
playing
want to hear that phrase
Now
again.
it's stuck in my
And now
head.
it's playing in my head right
Ever
now.
do I ever want to hear that phrase again?
During the show, I like to hear you guys.
So I
do
think
the
though
song.
that I think that the look, there's underwater motion capture happening in Avatar: Way of Water. I expect the technological breakthroughs to be pretty extreme in
Yeah.
terms of effects technology. James Cameron is always pushing the limits of that. And I think the 3D is probably going to be the best 3D that we've ever seen in our lives, ever. And I think it could lead people to want to adapt to 3D again, but the same thing is going to happen. If they try and do it again, it'll be a cash grab and they won't do it correctly. And we'll get a bunch of shitty 3D, which doesn't help anyone. Unless you're going to go the James Cameron route and shoot something to be in 3D and make sure it's projected in laser projected IMAX in 3D with that premium format projection system, it's never going to work.
And of course, if you watch it on a regular screen, it'll be just as good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Even I get, with all the joke aside, even I got to say, if there is any movie that's going to do it and any filmmaker that's going to do it, it's going to be James Cameron. Because I agree, this movie will be, we're just predicting, we haven't seen it, but this movie will probably be by far the best example of 3D ever in the history of film. And will that spur some kind of a movement? I don't know, guys. Question is for you. Do you miss the days of 3D? Maybe you don't. I don't know. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, now let's go over to the other, to Devin's question.
Our other Mint Mobile hotline question was from Devin, and he was asking about Robert Downey Jr. being in Avengers Seekers War.
All right.
Hey, John and crew, this is Devin. Now, I was looking on YouTube on some links, and I saw that Disney is planning on maybe bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in Avengers Secret Wars. And I also saw that Chris Evans Captain America. Now, is this confirmed at all? Obviously not. But maybe, what are they planning on doing? You know, that's going to be another huge film right after King Dynasty. So while it's not confirmed at all, I mean, what if? Thanks. Bring on the filthy guys.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for writing or calling that in, I should say. All right, look. How long have I been saying it? It's been a long time. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be back in the MCU. But John, on Joe Rogan, he said, I don't give a flying F what he said on Joe Rogan.
Even Rogan wants him to come back.
Yeah, everybody wants him to come back. And he will come back. Look, we saw this song and dance with him before. He, remember years and years and years ago, Robert Downey Jr., his contract was up with Marvel. And Marvel, in particular, Ike Perlmutter, but Marvel and Robert Downey Jr.'s reps were playing hardball with each other. And the word got out that Robert Downey Jr. wasn't going to be back anymore. Couple things happened. One, Marvel really started to understand just how popular Robert Downey Jr. was in the role of Iron Man. And two, Robert Downey Jr. found out that just because people loved him in Iron Man, they weren't necessarily going to be flocking out to see him in other films, aka The Judge, which, by the way, was a very good movie. But nobody saw it.
You didn't love Dr. Dolittle?
Yeah, that came after. Let's not talk about Dr. Dolittle. But I think then both sides kind of had a little bit of a come to Jesus moment, and then they got together, re-upped. So then he comes to the end of the run again. And I said from the beginning, he will be back. And I still 100% guarantee he will be back. I don't know if it'll be this year. I don't know if it'll be next year. I don't know if it'll be 3 years. I don't know. But he will be back. I said the same thing about Chris Evans. And that's a foregone conclusion. Rob, when you're talking about an ideal place that you could bring him back, even if it's just one time, we won't even talk about whether he comes back in an ongoing basis, but even if it's one time, is there a more opportune moment or a more opportune movie to do that in than an Avengers Secret Wars? Like, is there a better place to do that? So basically, two questions for you. Is that truly, would that be the best place to bring him back? And number two, do you think we'll see Robert Downey Jr. in Avengers Secret War?
Well, I think Secret Wars is the perfect place to bring him back because it opens up, this is the conclusion of the multiverse saga. So wherever he's going to come from, you can bring back a variant, which in a way could be very interesting because it allows Tony Stark to be a different kind of a Tony Stark. So from an actor's perspective, it gives Robert Downey Jr. a way to refine the character, do something new with it. You know, so our Tony Stark has passed on, died. But now a different Tony Stark from the multiverse legitimately can come back. They don't have to contrive some ridiculous, well, he didn't really die and blah, blah, blah. This happened and that happened. And people are going to go,
Of course they can. His spirit merged with the gauntlet that was then taken to Isengard and it was turned into... They can come up with a lot. It's the MCU.
It's true. But I like the idea of a variant of Tony Stark who is different. I don't know, somehow bring it back, leading. I mean,
he's
John,
celibate.
think about it. They need a leader, and suddenly a portal opens and there comes a badass Tony Stark that
and
is
it's Justin Long.
I got a bone to pick with you guys.
Just one?
Just one. You guys always talk about and probably make fun of how Marvel always brings back dead people.
Yep. The Marvel fake death cinematic universe.
Right. I get that. They do that. But why is it here that you guys are really wanting this. Because for me,
I'm sorry. What part?
I'm just
when
saying.
did I say
You've been
really wanted
championing.
this?
I mean, some people have been betting that Tony Stark would come back for a long time, just like you, John. But for me, they ended his story beautifully.
They did.
I mean,
Sure.
And for them to bring him back would overshadow the stars that they're trying to bring up now. Why would you bring back an older guy when they're trying to get you to love these newer
Let's do a
guys?
Marvel
That's all I'm
Zombies.
saying.
It's one word.
Especially if the
Money.
story
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Money. They'll do it for money. Now, listen, I am not sitting here advocating that they should bring him back. I'm the one who mocks him for the fake. I'm just telling you they're going to do it. I ain't telling you it's the right idea. I ain't telling you all that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you they're going to do it.
Plus, they need more people to fight. I mean, if you look at the roster in the comics in both versions, the 80s version and then the newer version of Secret Wars, there was a lot of people fighting. There's not a lot of people left. They don't have a lot of heavy hitters. I mean, Thor's been neutered. He's a dad now. He's like, you think he wants to fight? Maybe he does. I don't know. You've got no Black Widow. You've got no Captain America. You've got no.
Well, you do have a cap, but you have no Steve Rogers.
Well, you have no Steve Rogers. But our new Captain America is not a super soldier. You know, he doesn't have the super soldier serum. So he's vulnerable, more vulnerable than the Steve Rogers iteration of Captain America, although he can fly. So that's cool. But what do? You need a big roster. I mean, I don't want to see secret skirmishes. I want to see secret wars, bro.
Secret
Come on.
argument.
Secret arguments.
The MCU secret arguments. Damn it! What schwammer are we gonna have today?
If it's written by a Canadian, it'll just be a bunch of guys back and forth saying sorry.
Sorry.
That's the way to do. And listen, Ray, you bring up a really good point.
Handshake.
Secret handshake.
I don't know.
You brought up a good point. It's like Robert Downey Jr. had a great ending. And I agree. But Marvel has already shown that doesn't matter to them. You know
Yeah.
who had a great ending? Loki. Well, actually, he had about 4 of them. But one of them was
which one?
dying trying to save his brother. Right? That was the perfect ending for Loki. No resurrections this time. Kidding. But no.
That was a
seriously.
great
He didn't
death.
That
get
was a
resurrected. They
great
went back
ending for
Choked
Loki.
to death by Thanos.
And then what did they do? They instantly brought him back. You know who else had a great ending? Gamora had a great ending. Was there a more emotional part in Avengers Infinity War than Thanos throwing Gamora, his daughter, off of that cliff and the music that played and all that kind of stuff? Perfect ending, heartbreaking, emotional. You felt the loss. Just kidding. She's come right back in Endgame. So, I mean, I agree. They gave him the perfect ending. They should leave him dead, but they ain't gonna. They ain't gonna. One way or the other. They'll
Yeah,
find a
you're
way
probably
to.
right.
Yeah, money.
Money, 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 money. Yeah, they're I'm telling you. Anyway, guys, questions for you. What do you
Always got
think
to
about
monetize.
that? Do you think Avengers Secret Wars is the place that they can actually bring back Robert Downey Jr.? Do you think they're just going to leave him dead for good? Do you think Robert Downey Jr. doesn't even want to come back? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to move into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with our main topics. See, whenever you guys come across a topic that's so big and so major that you feel we need to cover it on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on The John Campea Show. With that down, Kaylee, what is our first main topic today?
Our first main topic comes from Everett. Hi, John. Like most people, I grew up watching A Christmas Story with my family almost every year. I had no idea they were making a sequel, and I just saw the first trailer for it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I felt a lot of nostalgia seeing the old Parker house, but it doesn't give us much else. I'm worried this could ruin a classic. What do you guys think? I'm kind of with you, Everett. I think this is I think it's a beloved movie that most people are going to be very harsh on with a sequel. But let's see what our friends had to say from Deadline. HBO Max has dropped the first footage of Peter Billingsley in his return as Ralphie in the upcoming A Christmas Story Christmas, the sequel to the classic holiday pick, A Christmas Story. The brief teaser trailer opens with a panoramic look at the Parkers' living room, an exact replica of the way it appeared in the 1983 movie, and ends with Ralphie as an adult sipping on his signature plastic-rimmed glasses. The film follows an adult Ralphie in the 1970s who returns to the house on Cleveland Street to deliver his kids a magical Christmas like the one he had growing up. With no same attention to real-life tone of the first, Ralphie connects with the childhood friends, reconciles the passing of his old man, and sowed seeds for the origins of the beloved holiday classic.
All right. Yeah. So I had a chance to watch this. I had totally forgotten this thing was even coming out, like completely forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the trailer dropped, and I was like, oh, right. I had heard something about it before, completely put it out of my mind. Is there a big, huge hunger out there to revisit A Christmas Story so many years later and you know, with the same actor coming back? I would have said no before, but we've seen a trend lately about going back and revisiting these old things. Like, I could say no to that, but I would also love to see the Goonies back together again.
Oh God!
Right? I would love to see the Goonies
I would
back
like to see
together
the
again.
Goonies come back as much as you love 3D.
There you go. Or how cool would it be in the next Indiana Jones to see Short Round return or something like that?
Well, that
Like,
would be cool.
we can talk about, like, I don't really see the need for this, but at the same time, would I be curious to check it out? I would. I don't know, Rob, you had a chance to see this first teaser. What do you think about even the principle of them doing a movie like this? And what do you think about the trailer that you saw?
Well, I'm a big fan of Peter Billingsley. We used to work together in the 90s. Do you know that he was an executive producer of Iron Man?
I think I heard that once.
Peter Billingsley was an executive producer of Iron Man. He and Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau were thick as thieves back in the 90s, back when they were right before they were making Swingers. They were really, really good friends. Peter doesn't get involved with things unless they're pretty good. And I would imagine, unless they backed up a truck of money to his house, that whatever we're going to get, because it is such a beloved classic, I would hope that Peter would make sure that it is pretty good. I don't know why. Even this, I guess everything is now on the table. We can remake anything. But A Christmas Story, I believe, is from 1983. So when this comes out at Christmas,
you were only like 40 at that time, weren't you?
Wow.
You're only a few years older than me. I'm kidding.
Oh no, but it's true. I am old. It's okay, but I'm young at heart. But no, I think that if this is good, and who's to say if Top Gun Maverick really good, I think this could be quite good, quite interesting. I think it might have a lot to say. I don't know. It's a tall order, dude. A Christmas Story is a great movie.
Yeah, I just hope they show that the character has grown up, that he's not acts the exact same way he did when he was, I can't even remember how old he was supposed to be in that. But hey, listen, over under 71% that they have a tongue on a frozen flagpole scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right. There's no doubt they're going to go back to that.
But they're going to do something unique with it, because you got to put a spin on it.
Yeah.
And I think like it will be in the 70s, so there can't be a TikTok video, there won't be an Insta.
No,
it's going to be something equally horrifying, I'm sure, but they're going to do it.
All right, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the new teaser for the upcoming A Christmas Story Christmas, which is, of course, the follow-up direct from the original with the original actor returning? What did you think? Did it hit you in the feels? Are you thinking for why? Whatever you guys feel, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a second here and thank another sponsor of our show today, our friends over at DraftKings. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, so tip off the new season with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. So check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost up their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Just go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where you need to go to bet on the NBA. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code Campea, that's CAMPEA. Make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code Campea. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. And thank you to our friends at DraftKings for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to our second main topic. Kaylee, what is main topic number 2?
Guys, our next topic comes from Ryan S. Hi, John and crew. Creed 3 released 2 new promotional photos on Monday of Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors sitting in their ring corners looking jacked with the tagline, "You can't run from your past." I'm very curious what the next chapter will be like for Adonis Creed now that Rocky will not be mentoring him like in Creed 1 and 2. Do these images increase your excitement for Creed 3? And with a release date of 3/3/23, do you think we will be getting a trailer soon?
Good question.
Maybe with Black Panther. Thank you for all and bring on the filthy. It's a really interesting question. I haven't seen the 3 images, but we'll get to that in a second. Coming from our friends from Empire, they say, the gloves are on, as revealed on Twitter by Michael B. Jordan. 3 new posters for Creed 3 have just entered the ring. In the red gloves, we have Jordan himself on Apollo's son, Adonis Creed. In the black gloves, we have our first look at Jonathan Majors as Creed's fearsome latest opponent. Anderson Dame, and the third banner showcases the release date. If there weren't already enough 3s in this paragraph, it comes out on 3 March 2023. Creed 3 is in the 9th film in the Rocky franchise and the first not to feature Sylvester Stallone. Wow. In any capacity besides producer. There's also the not insignificant matter of it marking Jordan's feature directorial debut. John, what do you think?
Listen, for me, the Creed 1 was a massively pleasant surprise.
Yep.
Like I'm one of the guys, I admit, I'm one of the guys who thought this is stupid. A Rocky movie that's not featuring Rocky. What's the point of this? Okay, now you're stretching, you're gonna go, Apollo's son Adonis? Like, what? Why? I mean, yeah, I love Michael B. Jordan, and Ryan Coogler and him did a great job with Fruitvale Station, but why? This is a dumb idea. And then I saw the movie and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The second film, which Ryan Coogler did not direct, I thought was good. It was good. I didn't like it nearly as good as I liked the first one, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. The couple of interesting things here with Michael B. Jordan coming back to direct the new one too, is that's a matter of fascination right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they announced they get Jonathan Majors, which, come on, you know how I feel about Jonathan Majors right now. This dude's on a roll. I still can't believe they're not bringing back his HBO show, Lovecraft Country. I can't believe they're not bringing that back. And the posters by themselves looked awesome. Let's bring those posters up if we got an image of them somewhere. These posters just look great. Just the two of them sitting across from each other. And look how jacked Majors is. I mean, that's insane. Now, there was a lot of fear, too, that there were rumors going around that we're going to make him Clubber Lang's son. And I'm in my heart of hearts, I'm like, please don't do that. You already did that in the last movie with him fighting the son of one of Rocky's old opponents, right? The story they set up is great because a trailer also dropped this morning.
Yes, it did.
Out of nowhere, a trailer dropped because we were going to talk today about how, well, if these posters is out, that means a trailer's coming really soon. Well, the trailer came out. And the trailer is fantastic. They're actually setting up childhood history and all this kind of stuff with him and Jonathan Majors. This makes it very personal. There's a betrayal involved, maybe two-way betrayal going on, which should hype up the emotional level of the whole thing. The two, as a teaser poster, those two teaser posters are perfect. As your first taste of a movie, it's almost as perfect. The trailer was remarkable for a first trailer. I loved it. Rob, you had a chance to see both the posters and the trailer. What did you think?
Well, first of all, I'm really curious. Michael B. Jordan has always impressed me, first as an actor, all the way back to The Wire, his short-lived stint before he died, rest in peace. Then he went on to Friday Night Lights, and then we've seen him do what he does now. And I think he's an incredible performer. I mean, whether he's Adonis Creed or whether he's Killmonger. Every time I've ever seen him speak on a talk show or something, he's a really smart guy. And he really seems to have a great head on his shoulders. So to see him direct is something I'm like, that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, I get it. He's had 20 years to see how it's done. And the trailer looks to me like he learned some great lessons. And when Ryan Coogler shot the first Creed, dude, those fight scenes, those long takes.
Incredible.
The choreographed fight scenes, amazing. And so This trailer, dude, when it dropped, I saw it right before I got in the car to go to the studio here. Majors is a beast. I mean, that guy is ferocious. He looks ferocious in this movie. And movies, they're only as good as their villains or their antagonists. And the idea that they have a history, that you can comment on, one of them went to jail and one of them didn't. That's motivation. You left me here to rot, or did you ever come visit me, or whatever that is.
Reminds me of Sneakers. It reminds me a little bit of Sneakers in that way, right?
Totally. And that's great motivation. Plus, there's a lot of social commentary that can happen there within the context of the story that's legit. Everything about this movie, I'm telling you, this is going to be the return of the king of the Creed franchise. I'm stoked.
Big words. Actually, I'm curious about Ray because I don't think anybody in here has been anticipating this movie more than Ray. What do you think about the trailer and the posters?
Jonathan Majors, when he first got cast as the villain in this movie, whatever he was going to play, he was going to do it good. And it looks like he's playing this part very well. I actually am a little intimidated by Majors in this. Like I'm I'm kind of scared that Adonis is going to get whooped maybe in a fight or two with him.
But I mean, he already knows all the moves because he's seen it.
What I do like is that they brought back some of the real boxers I saw in the trailer. Obviously, John saw Canelo. I didn't see Canelo. Gabe Rosado is still there, which I believe he was in the first Creed, the first fight, the one-shot fight. That's Gabe Rosado. He's very entertaining. A boxer. And Tony Bellew, he's in there too, which is the guy he fought at the end of Creed 2. I'm just really happy when I see authenticity in a boxing movie. You had Dazin, the microphone said Dazin. I like when they get like the real announcers.
Dazin or DAZN?
DAZN, sorry.
I've never known.
It is DAZN. It is DAZN. I always say just pronounce it like I see it. But DAZN. So I'm hoping this villain will be really credible throughout the whole film. We get a real threat. We get some drama in there, because they have some history, right? Together, they played when they were kids, right?
Well, I mean, here's one of the other interesting things too. I can never pronounce his last name, but the dude who played Drago's son, who's also in Shang-Chi, he's in the film too. He's returning for the film.
Oh, he was in there?
Yeah, but I didn't see him. I don't think I saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, I didn't
maybe
either.
a flashback.
Florence. What isn't his name?
Florence.
Yeah,
I don't know how to say his last name. All I know is that dude is also
guy's a
hell of
monster.
intimidating.
That guy's a
and he's a real world MMA fighter too. So I don't know. I love what I'm seeing, guys. Question is for you: did you have a chance to see these new posters and the new trailer for Creed 2? If so, what did you think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Kaylee, what is our third main topic today?
Guys, this question comes from Lamartis. Hopefully I said that right. Brandon Katz from the Parrot Analytics recently tweeted a graph showing audience demand for Andor is significantly below the other Star Wars shows such as Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, despite being significantly better. Obviously, these are not exact numbers, but what do you make of this? Do you think this will make Lucasfilm more reluctant to greenlight projects with more mature storytelling and potential new characters in favor of cameo-filled, whiz-bang rehashes of exiting characters? Thanks. That's very interesting that it's the least sought-after show right now for that franchise. Let's see what our friends at Star Wars Net says. New data from Parrot Analytics shows that Andor is not as in demand with respect to everything else that is streaming today, as previous shows like that, The Mandalorian, were. It's important to clarify what these numbers mean and why they are just one piece of the puzzle. The graphic gives away the impression that nobody is watching Andor. This is not necessarily the case. What this tells us is that there is less online talk of Andor when compared to the average series streaming today than there was for the rest of the Star Wars series. Streaming today than there were for the rest of the Star Wars series when compared to the rest of the streaming landscape at the time they came out. It's important to emphasize that this is not a viewership graphic, but rather an online demand one. Parrot Analytics aggregate measures of the number of downloads, news coverage, social media, and even piracy on a specific series. John, what are you thinking?
I mean, look, frankly, it's a heartbreaking statistic, right? So basically, for those of you who missed it, this graph basically came out again. I think Star Wars Newsnet did a great job of emphasizing this isn't a viewership graphic. It's a demand graph. Social media callouts, downloads, piracy, all that kind of stuff. And whichever way you cut it, Andor is ranking way behind on what the demand numbers were as far as searches and downloads and all that kind of stuff of the previous shows. In some cases, as much as 10x below. And the person who wrote in put it best. It's a shame because this is the best Star Wars series they've made. I love Mandalorian. I do. This is better than The Mandalorian. Of course, that's all just a subjective opinion. So it sucks to see quality is being rewarded with less attention. That said, I think there are a couple of reasons for this disparity. One, we've talked about before, Rob, which was Andor is a different kind of Star Wars show. It's the kind of Star Wars show they've never made before. The closest thing to it has been Rogue One. This one is not the lasers and lightsabers and I'll spin. That's a neat trick. It's not that kind of a Star Wars thing. It's a very, very different kind of Star Wars. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Andor is Star Wars for grown-ups. Not saying if you don't like it, you're not a grown-up. Not all grown-ups will like it. I'm just saying that's who this show is targeted for. It's not targeted at kids. It's targeted at adults. The types of adults who would watch Succession or watch Yellowstone. This is the kind of show that those people appreciate. One of the problems, though, is that there's a lot of people who watch Yellowstone and Succession who aren't looking to go watch a Star Wars show. It's different. This is not aimed at kids. It's not the whiz bang, as you said, light lasers and lightsabers show. It's an adult drama. That's one thing. And I think that's probably the most major part. Another one that some people will point out is that like when Mandalorian and other shows like that came out, there wasn't any real stiff streaming competition. This Andor has been coming out concurrently with House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. And regardless of however you feel about House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, what is undisputable fact is that the viewership numbers on those shows have been through the effing roof. Like they've been huge. And so that's been getting a lot of attention. Hell, even competition from its own network in She-Hulk to a degree, right? So does that fully explain why it would trail so far behind those other shows? No, but I think those are two important factors to figure into it. And again, it is a shame because it's the best they've ever done. And the message we as the audience are sending to Lucasfilm is we don't want great adult drama. That's the message we're sending. And so I hope more people get on board with it. Anyway, Rob, you see these numbers. First of all, what's your first reaction when you see these numbers? And secondly, what would you attribute it to?
Well, first of all, they admitted, the article says that it doesn't have the social media reach, Andor doesn't, that the other Star Wars shows had. Dude, if you called this show Mon Mothma, it would have more social media reach. Because the problem is Andor was a secondary or a co-lead in Rogue One. It was Jyn Erso's story. So what they're doing is they're not even giving you a marquee character in the Star Wars universe. Somebody that has a long history. Look, everyone loves Rogue One. Or most people do. But Cassian Andor was a secondary character to Jyn Erso and her journey. So I would say that a lot of this show is starting in a way from square one. It's a different kind of a show. It's a character that is now being injected into. By the way, there's going to be more Star Wars about Cassian Andor at the end of this show than any other Star Wars character.
Yeah, we're going to end up with 24 episodes.
24 episodes. I mean, there'll be eventually that many for The Mandalorian as well. But I think that, look, The Mandalorian is just Boba Fett under a different name. So people are interested in that. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett. These are things people are tweeting about. They're talking about. It's all over social media. And this show, because it's the people that watch Succession, are not going, oh my God, did you see the last episode of Succession? It's more adult oriented. Yeah. So these social media numbers are a little bit skewed. I'll bet you, look, it's never going to get the viewership that Boba Fett or Obi-Wan or The Mandalorian were getting. They knew that going in. I bet, though, that this has a longer tail.
I agree.
Because people are going to come back, they're going to get absorbed, they're going to watch it, and because there's more of this show, they're going to binge it once it's all out, and they're going to watch it over and over and over again because it's so absorbing.
Right?
I think, although I enjoy the show, and to your point, there is some people who like Star Wars, the fantasy part of it, the lightsabers. That's what I tuned in for. I'm giving this show a chance because I like Diego Luna. I mean, he's just a good actor to me. It's like we said about Secret Wars, Secret Handshake. This is like not Star Wars. It's like Star
Secret
Walks.
skirmish.
Like they're just walking a lot of places. Like that's all it is. Star Walks. So like some people want wars. Like you said, you don't want no secret handshake.
Wars don't just
You want
start,
secret wars in
like-
your Avengers movie. So there's a lot of people that look for that.
Every
And I'm
rebellion
gla-
has a beginning, Ray.
And I'm glad that last episode did what it did because I'm fully in. I like that part of the show.
Yeah,
The-
but, and you're and that goes back to what we were saying before. Exactly, is that a lot of people tune in. People come to Star Wars with a certain set expectation, and they can be forgiven for that because that's what Star Wars has always been. So you're forgiven if you went into it thinking we were going to get this.
Yeah.
And it's clearly very different. The show literally starts in a strip club. What I mean, like Andor.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not. There's nothing wrong with
That's
it.
where
I'm just
all
saying
shows
it's
should
very
start, I
different
think.
Star Wars. It literally starts in a strip club. It's a very different kind of Star Wars. And Rob, to your point, I think that's another good thing to bring up is that Mandalorian was. Well, everybody knows Mandalorian. It was basically Boba Fett in a different wrapper. Everybody knows the name of Obi-Wan, all that kind of stuff. With this is a lesser known character. I mean, they desperately need to start telling stories of these other characters. But again, it's going to be interesting to see. And I think you're right. I think this is going to be something that has a longer tail and that people catch on with more. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Andor, which, I mean, to me is the best Star Wars show they've made so far, but it's trailing significantly behind. What do you attribute it to? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our fourth and final main topic today. Kaylee, what is our fourth main topic today?
John, our fourth main topic comes from Chris Herman. Hey, John, I don't mean to alarm you, but I think it's actually happening. The Hollywood Reporter came out and said that a whole slew of DC movie projects are in development, including Wonder Woman 3, The Flash, hopefully Ezra-less, more movies in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, more James Gunn projects, and most importantly, a new Superman movie helmed by the one and only Henry Cavill. Man of Steel is finally coming out. What are your thoughts? And bring out the filthy. Well, we obviously know what John thinks about
Yes.
Henry Cavill reprising his role. And I'm with you. I'm so pumped. He is the best. And, you know, I love Gal Gadot. So I'm pumped for her, too. I mean, even if 2 didn't do that well, it's still an incredible character. And who doesn't love Gal Gadot? Let's see what our friend said from The Hollywood Reporter. Under Warner Brothers, Discovery CEO David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Pictures heads Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, Warner's has an intense desire to reprise the Cavill iteration of the hero. The project that would essentially be Man of Steel 2 is being produced by Charles Roven and is currently in search for writers. There is a wish list, of course, and Christopher McQuarrie, the hand of the guides in the Mission Impossible movies, was on it. McQuarrie worked with Cavill on the 2018 installment Fallout, but sources say no official outreach has been made, nor may it be feasible, as the director is working on the next back-to-back Impossible installments. John, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, I'm extremely thrilled. I am extremely thrilled. Look, when we were talking about the fact that Henry Cavill was going to be popping up in Black Adam, the point of me getting so excited, because people say, well, John, why you get so excited? It's probably just going to be a short, little, quick cameo. I said, that's not the important thing. I really don't care all that much that Henry Cavill is going to be making some brief little appearance in a cameo post-credit scene that was filmed probably a year after the rest of the movie was shot. I'm not really caring about that. I'm excited for it, yes, but that's not the deal. The big deal is what that signifies, we said. That Henry Cavill is back and he is still Superman. And of course, we talked yesterday about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson revealing that the former ownership at Warner Brothers kept denying it. Said, nope, no Henry Cavill for Superman. Nope, we're moving on from that. We're going a different direction. But kept saying no, until David Zaslav and the new ownership of Warner Brothers came in and said, not only yes, but we're anxious to do more Henry Cavill Superman. And people wonder why I'm so bullish on the new Warner Brothers. I'm very excited about that. But more than that, it's more than just words. They've got Charles Roven attached to it. Other than Kevin Feige, Charles Roven is probably the most prolific and quality-wise too superhero movie producer, and more than just superhero movies. I mean, the guy also produced American Hustle and a whole bunch of movies like that. Obviously, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and others in the DC world. This dude knows how to produce a good superhero film. Obviously, just like Kevin Feige, he's got some bad films on his resume too, but he's one of the best. So they've already got him attached. They're so committed to this, they're already looking at directors. I don't think they can get Christopher McQuarrie, but holy shit, how excited would we be if they were able to get a Christopher McQuarrie on board with this? But I like the article said, I don't think we should count on it. This is utterly fantastic. This is incredible news. It's one of the things that got me out of bed in the morning when we heard that the new leadership this is going back a few months, that the new leadership at WB were fans of the Henry Cavill Superman, believe they can build a lot of their moving forward DC universe around Henry Cavill Superman. And now we're actually see those pieces fall into place, both with the Black Adam cameo. And now we're going to they're already focused on a new standalone movie for him. Now, what will happen with this new movie? Will they also bring back Amy Adams as Lois Lane? Do they bring back, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White? Will it act as something of a soft reboot? I mean, I guess some of that might depend on what happens in the upcoming Flash movie. But whatever way you cut this is outstandingly exciting news for somebody like me, who is, of course, a huge Henry Cavill fan. If there are people who don't like Man of Steel, may not be as big news to you, and I respect that. But for me, it's freaking huge. And if these are the types of moves, the types of construction moves, we've seen a lot of the axe moves, but if these are the types of construction moves we can expect moving forward, then I'm excited about the future of DC. And again, we'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind after we see The Flash. I don't know. But anyway, Rob, you hear about this. This report, again, it's important to note, is not coming from Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. What's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I think that it's fantastic. I mean, I hope they call this movie Superman because he's earned it. That's what
I agree.
I think it needs to be called Superman. Look,
I'll accept Man of Steel too.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the thing about Man of Steel too is it harks back to a different era. I think coming out and saying this movie is Superman, it makes a statement. But I think also that there is no better director right now in Hollywood that is better suited to direct this movie than Chris McQuarrie. Now, I don't know, after making Mission Impossible, Fallout, and now Dead Reckoning Parts 1 and 2, if he wants to take a long rest. He also wrote, he did a pass on Top Gun Maverick.
And they're talking about getting him to write this.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
He's an auteur. He should write and direct this movie. And I'll tell you something. I'm sure he's been talked to about it. I'm sure that because there's nobody better. The real question is, he's got a lot of projects in the hopper with Tom Cruise, like a Les Grossman movie. I want to see him do that too.
Yes, badly.
But Tom Cruise is slated to direct that movie in space, and I think Doug Liman was attached to that.
He was.
So I don't know if Chris McQuarrie, I know that Tom Cruise would at least have Doug Liman want to write or do something with that film. But if it's Doug Liman's movie, maybe Chris McQuarrie, that gives him an opportunity to take a breather. Always good to get your juices back up, go make something else. Why not make Superman?
Now, that's not exactly a small project to take a breather on, but it would be glorious. Listen, this is one of those things where I'm not going to play X director directing X movie thing. If Christopher McQuarrie were announced to actually write and direct this film, I would be extremely happy. I'm going to say something else. If they said Zack Snyder was going to come back to direct this movie, I love what Zack Snyder did with the first Man.
Sure, me too.
I love how he handles Superman and his approach to Superman. I don't love everything about all the stuff he's did in the DC universe, but that is something I thought he did exceptionally well. And I think he directed the most underrated comic book movie of all time with the first one. But there's a lot of names I would be okay with. A lot of names. First things first, they got to get the script written. But it seems like they have a desire to do it. It seems like they have a commitment to do it. They're already bringing in the heaviest of hitters they have in this world with like Roven, who, by the way, remember you and I were talking about this? He should be one of the names they consider to head up DC Studio, but whatever.
I think, though, he's more of a physical producer.
I agree.
Rather than a create. When I say I hate when people do that, but in terms of screenwriting and stuff, he usually takes those scripts when they've been written.
Yeah. But I would love to see him
facilitates
shepherd a whole thing. I would love to see him try something like that. But this might not be the time.
He's Warner Brothers' biggest Coleman in-house producer because he is.
I just love so much about this. So many levels. I am positively giddy. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The new Warner Brothers is committed to doing more with Henry Cavill's Superman, and it looks like they've already got the wheels in motion to develop a Man of Steel 2, or maybe just call it Superman, or even The Superman. Whatever, I'm good with either. What do you guys think about this whole thing? Do you think, what's the point? We've already had lots of Henry Cavill Superman. Maybe you feel that way. Maybe you're like me and you're thinking, what the hell took this long? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, we're now going to move on and start taking your live questions. So we are opening up the super chats. If you guys have a thought, theory, opinion, question that you'd like Rob and I to address in the second half of the show here, go ahead and start firing this in the super chats. Just so you know, we only leave them open for just a couple of minutes, so get them in as quickly as you can. Now, before we get to those super chats, though, we're going to take a second and thank our main sponsor of our show here today, Ryan Reynolds and his company, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding. There isn't one. Mint Mobile just has premium wireless from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find all these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. With my old wireless provider, every month when I opened the bill, it was like playing roulette. I never knew how big the bill was going to be, and it always seemed to get bigger. With Mint Mobile, it's totally different. I know exactly how little I'm paying every month, and there's never any surprises. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family. And at Mint Mobile, families start at just 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And guys, you get to use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. So transferring over couldn't be easier. So to get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. You'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for being an awesome phone service provider for me and for being the sponsor of this show, guys. Seriously, you are paying too much for your phone service. Go and check out Mint Mobile. Use that promo code Campea. You will be happy that you did. All right. With that down, guys, let's get into those super chats, shall we, that you guys have been firing in. So, Kaylee, what have we got in there?
All right. It looks like from Raymond.
Oh, yeah, just RC. Murray send in some support. Thank you, RC.
And then you got Raymond.
Awesome. Okay, so it says from Raymond. John, you have your Halloween look. You look like Marlon Brando from the Superman movie sentencing General Zod to the Phantom Zone. Guilty.
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 Do I like Marlon Brando?
Well, you got that S on your chest.
Oh,
and,
that's the right color and everything, too. That's what he's talking about.
And if you look, it was like Scotch Light tape, but sometimes it looked black depending on how
I remember that. By the way, I do have my Halloween costume now.
Are you going to tell us what it is?
I'll tell you what it is.
Is it Elvira?
And that's the day Taylor lost his job. So
You'd look good. Elvira would be good.
maybe I could pull off Elvira.
Yeah, Cassandra
You know
Peterson.
what I had
Don't
thought
do that.
about? I almost got the Stop Go Girl from Squid Game costume with the mask and the yellow dress and everything. I almost bought that. I almost did. No, here's what I went with. First of all, I finally got myself a crushed red smoking jacket for John Campea After Dark. So I finally got that. So now when we do After Dark, you guys will actually see me wearing the appropriate
Are you going to smoke?
hef. I'll probably have a fake pipe. You know I don't smoke.
I know, but
I'll have a
it'd be
fake pipe,
fun.
maybe with some bubbles in it. We'll see. But my main costume,
So just do it in the bathroom then.
Could happen.
my main costume though, that I will wear on the show probably. It's guys, I'm not creative. You want to know how bad I am at creative in clothing? Serious, real thing happened this morning. Ray will know this is true. So I had ordered. I have no fashion sense. The reality is, 90% of my wardrobe I buy on Amazon. Just saying.
Hey.
So I had ordered a new shirt. Right? Shows up today. And as I always do, the first thing I did, take it out, and I threw on the shirt, and I went in. Ann was on the treadmill. So I go in to see Ann. I'm like, what do you think, baby? And she's like, what's your plan for that?
What's your plan for that?
And I'm like,
Your plan for that
well, I
shirt?
just thought I look comfy. And this is a bad sign, guys, that you
Oh
might
my
have bought
God,
the
don't
wrong
tell
thing.
me.
Her next phrase to me was, okay, but like you're never actually planning on wearing that out in public, right?
Is it a woman's shirt?
No,
Oh.
no.
I thought you did a Michael Scott with the blazer.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, it was one. I thought it looked really comfy. It was one of those shirts that is like a V down to here, but has like the laces through
Like
it,
a poet shirt.
almost like a pirate or a
Fabio.
poet.
Oh
shirt.
my God!
Oh,
I
I
was
have one of
joking.
those.
I was gonna say, did you do the Seinfeld thing where he was wearing the pirate
But
shirt?
it's not poofy. It's not like poofy or
Oh,
anything like that.
Fabio.
Taylor wanted me to wear one
I
of my
just thought
pirate
it looked
shirts on here.
comfy. I thought, listen, I have no fashion. So anyway, my costume is
No,
Ted
we want to hear
Lasso.
more about this.
Oh, there you go.
Ted Lasso.
Okay, Ted
I got
Lasso.
a Ted Lasso costume.
Wait a second.
So very-
With a mustache.
Now that you have a pirate shirt or a poet shirt,
Arr.
I have one too.
oh,
What say you
No.
we wear ours together?
what say you?
What say our matey?
You know where you know
so
where
just
you,
to spite my wife, I put it on and walked into her office when she was in the middle of a meeting.
Oh.
My wife's vice president of her company, right? She's in the middle of a Skype call. So I decided to get my revenge. I put on the shirt and I walked into her office and I said, "Arr, I'm here looking for booty."
Now
and
they started the
just
Kickstarter.
decided
Gosh.
to, embarrass my wife a little bit.
and now they're foreclosing on their home.
Cheers, baby.
Wow. I'm looking for booty.
Arr. Don't
You
forget
know
the
where you
arr
went
part.
wrong, John. You should have gone. Well, there was a few places, but you should have gone to True Classic and put in code Campea and gotten some great shirts.
See, the thing is, I bought so many True Classic shirts. They are a sponsor of our show. I have bought so many of them that I decided to buy something a little bit different. But yeah. I'm never going to buy any clothes again without running it by my wife first. Never
That's
gonna happen.
men should never buy clothes without running them by their ladies first.
Yeah,
Ever.
we really should.
Ever.
The only person honestly, the person I know with the best fashion sense guy-wise is actually Ray. And you may not be able to tell by what he wears on the show, but Ray, I've stolen a lot of stuff out of Ray's wardrobe because he has some
I
really
got to
good-
make up for it. I have a lot to make up for.
He's got some good stuff. All right, sorry, we're falling behind
Oh,
here.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
next?
What's this
He
show
got his
about?
value on that question.
All right, the next question, Al Renshaw. Superman 2 in development and Cavill reprising role. John's mind, choir singing hallelujah, sound effect.
It is a combination
Not that
of
one.
the heavens opening up, the choirs of heaven singing out hallelujah, and me pulling a little bit of Aegon Targaryen standing in my windowsill. Just a lot of that.
Boy,
Wow.
A lot of that going on.
Oh no.
Very happy.
boy.
Very happy.
I've come here looking for booty.
R.
Arr.
You got the R.
Oh,
All right. What's next?
Next, Andy, thank you for the $5. I don't like The Rock's idea for DC, but if he somehow gets Affleck back as Batman and his Batman movie back on, then I'll do a 90-degree turn, but not 180 yet.
All right. So to be fair, I don't know what Rock's idea is overall for DC. I mean, Rock volunteered himself. I don't know if you saw that interview. He volunteered himself to be a consultant. He said, I'd be more than happy to consult and blah, blah, blah. So these ideas. Listen, I need to see Black Adam before I define any sort of, do I like the kind of direction Dwayne Johnson would take things? I'd have to see the movie first. But if Dwayne Johnson could not only get Henry Cavill back as Superman, and obviously Warner Brothers has to be on board with it, but if he could also get my favorite Batman, if he could get Ben Affleck back, the joy would be insurmountable. It would be great joy amongst all the people. I would be very happy about that, no doubt. All right, what's next?
Next, Andy. Jamie Lee Curtis said that she has the butt plug trophies from EEAAO
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
at home. If she wins an Oscar for everything, what
Everywhere, all
he
at
just
once.
said, she better put it next to those trophies.
Okay, that is like, I was loving the movie. I mean, again, as of right now, Everything Everywhere All at Once is still my #1 movie of the year. I still think it's easily the best film of the year so far. And it was great and it was wonderful and it was kind of bonkers and all that kind of stuff. When the butt plug trophy scene happened,
What the?
I nearly choked on my Reese's Pieces. Like when I'm like, because you see it developing, right? Like when that scene is happening, you see it developing and you're like, and when the moment you realize what's about to happen, you're like, oh my God, they're not going to do that. Or, oh my God, they did that. I just realized, take the playbook, whatever expectations I had and throw it out because this movie will do anything. And it really embraced that. It is in a year with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness Everything Everywhere All at Once is the best multiverse movie of the year. But it was shocking. Do you still think about that scene, Rob?
Well, I think about that a lot, but that's for a different show. No, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is a tremendous film. It's so creative, it's so well done, and like you said, there's nothing quite like it, and there's a reason why it's A24's biggest grossing movie ever. It's a wonderful film, but as for that particular scene, if that's where she wants to put her Oscar, if she wins one, why shouldn't she?
I agree. All right, what's next?
Next,
Soothius.
Now we just need an Asian Mr. C, Mr. B, Chris, Miss Aaron, Jonathan, and Taylor. Asian invasion, baby.
Yeah, all we got to do is change the ethnicities of everybody else on the show.
Wow.
It'll be all good to
Take
go.
it over.
Here's the other thing too. So, if I'm not mistaken, wait, are you not also part Italian?
I am.
Okay, so like Kaylee is basically, she's like Greg Alba. She is mine and Anne's child from the future who's come back in time to warn us of an impending apocalypse.
That's why I'm here.
Being Filipino and Italian. It's
Yeah.
a perfect mix.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Next, we have from Sam Fisher. Hope the Cavill Superman sequel is called Man of Today, and the third is Man of Tomorrow.
I mean, there's something. I remember once Kevin Smith once kind of suggested that he thought a good name for a movie would be Man of Tomorrow. He also thought a good name for a movie would be Last Son of Krypton. These are all good. They're good. I like them. There's creativity in there, but I really do prefer, number one, my first choice would be just Man of Steel 2. My second, though, would be Rob's suggestion of just Superman or The Superman. I think would be great, too. I mean, you could also kind of do the Mission Impossible thing where you call it Superman, Last Son of Krypton, Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
You could do that, too, I suppose. But my first choice is Man of Steel 2. If I can't have that, I would go with Rob's suggestion of just plain Superman. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave sent
House of the Dragon.
House of the
Or
Dragon,
Hot
father and daughter, hand and feet. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow, Stubble, come on now.
Stubble.
Yeah. No. Just, oh my God, that scene still freaks me out. All right, what's next?
Jedediah Elias. I hope I said that right. No, you don't like X-director in X role, but if possible, would you want Snyder to return for Man of Steel 2 or find a new director?
Like I said, all I care about when they are getting ready to announce a director, all I care about is whatever director they announce, that it's a good director. That's all I ask for. Now, if Zack Snyder was announced to be returning for Man of Steel, that would be one of the names that would make me very happy. Christopher McQuarrie would be one of the names that would make me very happy. There's a long laundry list of names that would make me very happy. So that's all I really care about. But yes, if Zack Snyder was one of those names, considering how much I appreciate and love the first one he did, I would be very happy with that. All right, what's next?
Next, dad jokes. Last week, Jackman announced in DP3 last week. Cavill in Black Adam announced. Wait, sorry, guys. Last week, Jackman announced in DP3 last week. Cavill in Black Adam announced this week. Man of Steel 2. John Campea needs new socks, underwear, and a whole new wardrobe. WTF is next.
I gotta
He's
tell
got a
you,
new shirt.
the last a new shirt
Fabio.
from, apparently, according to my wife. Listen, I'll tell you what, it has been a good couple of weeks as far as the news coming out. Hugh Jackman coming back, again, I believe is the most significant movie news we've had since the announcement that Disney was buying Lucasfilm. I honestly don't feel there's been more significant movie news than that.
Well, the restoration of Star Trek: The Motion Picture into 4K.
Well, that goes without saying, obviously. And then Henry Cavill back. I mean, you're right. These are the couple of weeks that kind of define why I get out of bed in the morning and why I'm a big fan. I love this stuff, man. Next week it's got to be Affleck, right? Next week it's got to be Affleck. And then maybe Mark Hamill doing coming back to Star Wars. I don't know. All right, well, whatever. We'll see.
Is Oprah running WB now?
Yeah, Oprah's now
Giving away everything.
But you know what, though? There's a good point to be made. Ever since Top Gun Maverick came out and surprised everybody, I didn't think Top Gun Maverick was going to be particularly... It looked cool, but I didn't think it was going to be as good and satisfying. And I think that that shows that satisfying an audience by delivering a great film that might have nostalgia is important.
Absolutely.
And I think that I really believe that Top Gun's success has led to some of these things happening. I really believe that.
All right. What's next?
Next, we have Kendall Barker. I think Michael B. Jordan will show up as T'Challa from another universe where Wakanda was destroyed by Namor. I think Disney saying Jordan will be a voice from the ancestral plane is a misdirect.
Look, I do not believe Killmonger is going to be in this. I think he's dead. He was a genocidal maniac. He was evil to his core. I don't think he's going to be back. That said, the best argument, the strongest and most relevant argument to be made about the possibility of him being back is not that he was a great villain. It's not that Michael B. Jordan was great in the first movie, and both of those are true. But is that Ryan Coogler hasn't directed a movie without Michael B. Jordan. And every time he directs a movie with Michael B. Jordan, it's awesome. So if you're looking for a glimmer of light, a glimmer of hope that we could see Killmonger in this, that's your hope. Is this just the fact that Ryan Coogler always works with Michael B. Jordan? So I don't know. I still think they need to move on from that. He's a mortal character who died. He's dead. I don't think you should bring him back. Maybe you can have him speaking from the ancestral plane, possibly as sort of like that, but I just don't think you can have the character back. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to be in this movie because this movie has a lot of heavy lifting to do. It has to honor the memory of Chad Boseman. It has to move the MCU forward. It has to deal with Wakanda's power vacuum. It has to deal with Namor and the Talokan civilization, whatever that's going to be. And I think that those things alone are going to make this movie unique. You bring Michael B. Jordan comes back. I don't think there's really any way to bring him back without, in a way, diminishing what they have to do with this movie. Now, maybe Ryan Coogler's figured out a way to do it that I haven't considered that actually is pretty good, because I don't think they're going to bring it back. I even think Michael B. Jordan himself would say, you know what? I appreciate we're going to do another movie together, Ryan, but maybe this movie is not the movie that I need to come back in. I could see it that way.
All right. What's next?
Next, we have Luis Enrique de la Peña. Gorgeous. I think Majors could have been a great T'Challa if they had recast the character before he was chosen as Kang.
Yeah, but I mean, again, X actor and X role. If I believe they should have recast T'Challa, and I believe T'Challa should still be in these movies. And that being said, yeah, Jonathan Majors is a great actor, so he'd be great. But we can sit here and list 10 other actors that I also believe are really good actors that would have filled the role really great too. But again, yeah, if they were going to recast T'Challa, which I think they should have done, then if they said Jonathan Majors was T'Challa, I would definitely go, yeah, that's a good name. That's a good one. That is a good name to have in that role. But there would be others as well. So, I mean, a lot of people brought up John David Washington. I mean, there's a lot of potentials you could have there. But yeah, he would definitely be one that I'd be good with. All right, what's next?
Next, we have Casey Mack. Hello, gang. Hope you are all doing well this week. Today, I am actually going to see my favorite vampire film, The Lost Boys, in theater for the first time. Should be fun.
Oh, you're seeing it. I was like, how can it be your favorite movie if you're seeing it for you're seeing it in the big screen for the first time. Dude, that is also my favorite vampire movie of all time is Lost Boys. Like that movie, I love it. Like Kiefer Sutherland. The only other movie that Ted, is it Ted or Bill that's in it?
It's Bill.
It's Bill. It's the only other movie.
Wait, is it Ted?
Yeah.
It's Bill. It's Bill.
Bill S. Preston, Ted Theodore Logan.
Yeah, which one was
Ted is
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu and Bill is
Bill.
the blonde. Yeah.
Okay, so Bill. The only other movie I ever recall seeing Bill in. So as one of the vampires as well. That movie is so great. It's stuck with me. It has been my favorite vampire movie ever since I saw it for the first time.
You know, John, a couple weeks ago they re-released it in 4K, brand new transfer.
You
and
don't
it looks
say.
Spectacular. It's so good. With your new theater room and your PlayStation 5, which you moved into your theater room, you could watch it in 4K.
If only I cared. Wow. I like it. Yeah, I got a really good image of the way it is. I'm good. All right. What's next?
Next up, we have Ben Rayner. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Who's got the better death scene, Tony or Logan? I'd say Logan. Damn, every time I see that scene, it breaks me. And when she turns the cross to an X, forget about what you guys. Wait, forget. What about you guys?
All right. And by the way, Ben sent in like a $35 super chat. Ben, thank you so much for supporting us on that level, man. That's amazing. Thank you. Listen, Tony's death scene is a great scene, right? A little drawn out. It's a little bit drawn out.
Well, it's the end of a 22 movie saga.
I get it. I get it. Although, like, utilizing the power of the gauntlet really should have just instantly killed him immediately. Like, if it wrecked Hulk's arm, that should have just killed him immediately. But whatever. It's a good scene.
His armor's good.
And his arm was good, though. But having Pepper, when Pepper stands in there, that's the real killer of the scene. When she's like, it's okay. Like, you can rest now. It's all right, right? That moment was fantastic. I will still say it's Logan, though, because, again, and I know this is something I harp on all the time, this is the Marvel fake death universe. When characters die now, there is a portion, or at least a percentage, of the emotional impact that is lost. Because you don't really think that's it. Like we saw, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. We saw Spider-Man die, but we don't really. I mean, it's a great scene. It's a fabulous death scene, but it wasn't really because we knew he was coming right back. We saw Okoye freaking out over the fact that T'Challa just dusted. It was all right. We knew T'Challa was coming back. When Logan died in Logan, we knew that was it. We knew that this was, at least until recently, we knew that this was Hugh Jackman's last rodeo as the character. We knew that he was not coming back. And we knew that this was the end of a nearly 20-year journey.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, with the character. And all of it was there. Now, of course, we're going to get him in Deadpool 3, but this is an alternate thing. It's not 2029. It's a different thing. It's a lark. It's a comedy. It's for fun. But yeah, so when Tony died, I still think the overall better death scene was Logan's. But also, I think because of the fact that the nature of the MCU and that we never really believe any of the characters who die are actually going to be dead, it takes away a little bit of that emotional impact. So I would say Logan. Rob, these are two great death scenes. Which one had more impact on you?
Well, just because I'm an X-Men fan, I have to say that the thing about Logan is contextually in the movie, I think it had more emotional impact from a certain standpoint because there was a finality to it. And if this makes any sense, John, it felt real.
It did feel real.
It felt real. Whereas, not to take away, but when you're battling Thanos and his alien hordes, and the portals are opening, and you have all these superheroes versus all of these alien creatures, and look, I get it. When Tony Stark's on his knees and says, "I'm Iron Man," and snaps his fingers, it's amazing. But the fantasy context of it did not hit me in the feels the way that Logan's death did. Because he's surrounded by friends and loved ones, and he's sacrificed everything, but it's more in a fantastical way, whereas Logan's felt far more grounded, and that there was far more. I mean, Tony Stark saved the world and Logan saved some kids, but Logan was our friend for a long time.
Oh, and Logan had saved the world many times.
He had saved the world. I mean, he'd been erased from timelines and come back.
But it was also, there was a tragicness to his end, right? Like you were saying with Tony, it was like the big hi-fi, super, like sci-fi, boom, 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 and the hero died, saved the day. With him, the whole movie was about, this is a character who has lost everything.
Lost all the X-Men.
He's also losing his power.
He's dying. Professor X has already died.
Yeah, and like even from the beginning of the movie, they're in a bad spot and all this kind of stuff. And then he does one last good thing with this tragic life and has that tragic. I'm getting chill. I'm literally getting chills and goosebumps thinking about it.
Tony Stark also was a little selfish, right? And that moment where he decided to not be selfish and save everyone too, that was kind of touching too, right?
It was absolutely touching. It was beautiful.
It was triumphant.
It was incredible. It was great.
I'm just saying, taking all the fantasy elements out of it, the reason he died was very significant because it was a complete turnaround from what we've known of him. So both of them were great.
And he had to face that decision too. Like when he looks over Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange gives him this is the one thing. Like Strange is like, I know what you're thinking, and this is the only one way, right? So there was that nonverbal communication. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Tony's Destiny.
no,
it
no,
was
no.
great. I just think the Logan one was just on the next level. I think. All right. Great. Thanks again for sending that in, Ben. Appreciate that, man. All right. What's next?
Next, we have from Ulatan.
Otto
And ancient.
and
Allison.
Alicent.
Sorry. The hand and the foot.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Great minds think alike, John.
I've been seeing that on social media a lot, the hand and the foot. I've been seeing that a lot. All right, what's next?
Even if Flash movie isn't fully finished, I would just release it within the next few weeks anyways, just to get behind you. And that's from Al Renshaw.
Yeah, I've been saying for a long time, I believe their best bet, Warner Brothers' best bet, is to just release this film. Just release it. Get it out in November, maybe even December, whatever, because the longer you wait, the more you are tempting fate with whatever Ezra Miller's going to do next. I mean, and listen, beyond that, you want to get it out before, mentions of Ezra Miller getting indicted or actually getting a court appearance or whatever. It just seems like it's the best idea. Now, I think it's too late. I don't think they're going to do that now, but I do think that would have been their best move. All right, what's next? What's funny
I
about
was
that?
like, what if they put the tickets up on sale the same day he gets indicted?
There we go.
Like a double
That gives a whole new meaning to Ticket Watch.
marketing.
Ticket watch.
Indictment Day.
All right, what's next?
Never mind.
From Chala Galazard.
Good luck.
Thank you. The beacons are lit. The filthy calls for aid. King Theojon and the
Theo John.
JCS shall answer.
I like that. Instead of Theoden, Theo John. I like that. I mean,
I'm
it's not
like
as good
reading
as-
things so
The filthy
so
calls-
intensely today on my first day. I'm like,
The filthy calls for aid. I'm going to start saying that in my everyday life.
The filthy calls for aid.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the filthy is the aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
All right. What's next?
from Rafael Castillo, Something in the Dirt by Aaron Moorhead. Justin Benson looks like fun. I've loved their previous films, The Endless and Spring.
I'm not familiar with The Dirt. What is this one?
It's their new movie. They directed some of Moon Knight. They made Resolution. They made The Endless. Spring is a horror film. I mean, I love these guys. And they also made the Anthony Mackie movie about the drug. And what's it called?
Was it the Netflix one you're thinking?
Yeah,
of?
I
know the one you're talking about.
They make really innovative science fiction and horror films at a low budget. I'm trying to think of the name of this drug. Why can't I I forget what it's called. And that movie was okay. It wasn't as good. But if you want to have your mind blown, watch Resolution and watch The Endless, because they're really good.
Sounds like a Sandman.
So it does. And I always think about that when I think about The Endless. But their new movie, I'll watch anything these guys make because their ideas are wacky and fun and really thought-provoking.
All right.
So bring it on, Benson and Moorhead. I love you guys.
All right. What's next?
Next. Okay,
we
so
did
we already
that
read
one.
that
There we go.
one. Daniel Kahn. Yes, hello. I'd like to secure my membership to the JC Reverse OnlyFans, please. Love you, John, but not that much.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the fabulous limited time special of the John Campea Reverse OnlyFans, you send me $5 a month, or I start sending you pictures of my feet and dick pics. It's your choice. So you can either pay up, or you can wake up to horror every morning, or in some cases, great glory. Whatever.
Wow. Oh.
I got to be
We're
honest with the
canceled.
people, guys. I got to be honest with the people. I mean,
boy.
it is what it is. All right. What's next?
Okay, so are we Matt Sanders?
No, Edgar.
Edgar Magnana. So sorry. I'm horrible. So no Ted 3?
You know, I was wondering about that the other day. I mean, look, they were also talking about doing a TED TV series. That right? What's that? I think on Peacock. Yeah, they were talking about Universal was talking about doing a TED series as opposed to a TED 3. And I don't know where they are on that. I just remember them talking about doing it. Listen, I loved TED. TED 2 wasn't as good as the first one, but it had a couple of bigger laugh moments. Like there's one in particular when they're in the sperm bank that I won't repeat the joke, but oh my God, I nearly choked. I was laughing so hard. but I think the shtick of it is worn off. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Dude, I loved Ted. I hated Ted 2.
Oh, okay.
And I think the reason is Ted is real. Ted 2 is not. And that's my because here's the thing. In Ted, I believed that there was a teddy bear that was alive.
Right.
And I believed all of the things that happened. In Ted 2, they went out into the ocean and buried laptops and all this stuff that happened in Ted 2. I didn't believe it anymore. They created a verisimilitude with that damn bear. And I believed, even Sam J. Jones, I know it seems silly. I've tried to explain this to people before. But the reason Ted works is because it sets up a premise and it takes it seriously. It makes you believe. Ted 2 didn't believe any of it. Didn't believe it at all.
Which was it, 1 or 2 that the Tom Brady scene was in? Where they break into Tom Brady's house while he's sleeping to try to steal some of his semen.
I want to say
that's South Park too.
I want to say that's Ted 2.
I think it was Ted 2 as well,
Yeah.
but
See, it is. And that's another reason, because that would not happen. And I understand it's supposed, if this, I know people are going to be like, Rob, what the hell are you talking
you're talking about a magical talking
I'm
bear.
talking about a
I
magical
get
talking
it.
bear. You either believe it and you buy into the premise and they make you believe. And that's one of the things that's charming about Ted 1. But Ted 2, all of it was just, it was gobbledygook. And none of it worked for
It
me.
was realistic situations in the first and unrealistic situations
Yes,
in the second.
exactly.
That's
Ted 2 was
why
a
I think the
cartoon.
first one was better. But like the very fact when they're standing in Tom Brady's bedroom and it's dark and they lift up the blanket and you just see this angelic light start to shine, and Mark Wahlberg and Ted are like, and Ted goes, and that's when it's at rest. I mean, this is, come on, you didn't laugh.
Okay, look, no, because I'm like, this
You were
is
just so
stupid.
sore about
Like, why are they
the Super
there?
Bowl with Seattle.
Yeah, why are they there? No,
How
it
did
wasn't
they get
like that. It was just that the funny thing about Ted 1 is it took itself, like you just said it correctly, Jonathan.
Yes, I did.
That was exactly right. You know, it was ordinary, believable situations,
Right.
and none of the situations in Ted 2 were believable.
All right, what's
All
next?
the worst impulses.
Next, from Matt Sanders. No. Oh, yes. 9 years. It's time to dance like it's 2014 again. Also, hi, Kaylee. Hi.
What? What are we
Is
talking
that when
about?
Man of Steel came out? I'm not sure.
No, it came out
2014?
before that.
Time
When
to
did
dance
Man of
like it's
Steel come out?
2014. Well, I mean,
Taylor, look that what
what the hell happened in 2014 and why were we dancing?
Yeah, did Man of Steel come out in 2014?
It came out June 14, 2013.
That's 2013, so just before that. So I don't know what date we're talking about.
Step Up 2 3D?
that
Or that
could
was
be it.
only Step Up.
I mean,
Maybe
I
he
know
was
I got to
wrong
get
on
back
a
to
year?
the streets.
Oh man, this is
All right,
Sorry.
what's next?
Next, Roberto Suarez. We need to see more of Soup's Rogues Gallery.
Yes and no. To be honest with you, look, I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of his Rogues Gallery that work great in the comics. I don't know how great they would translate on screen. We talked about the concept of how do you bring a Brainiac in and do it well, because Krypton tried to do it, and it's like, oh, that didn't really work, despite the fact that I really did like the Krypton show. I did. But, Mongol, do you go... I mean, there's only a few of his classic ones. I almost think you got to make up new ones for him. I don't know.
Well, that's why, I think you're right. The Rogues Gallery, Metallo's too much like Ultron, and I just think that Superman, what do you get, Mr. Mixoplitic or whatever?
Mr. Mixoplix.
I think that Dwayne Johnson is the perfect foil. That's the thing. The thing that I look forward to is Black Adam and the Shazam family or whatever. You've got people that are formidable that can fight Superman on a pure battle level, but they've also got magic. And we haven't seen this employed yet in the movies, but magic is his vulnerability as well as Krypton. So, hey.
Zorro.
I mean, Bizarro's, but again, Bizarro's
Cyborg
one
Superman.
that I wonder if it would come across as just a silly
It
thing.
would, the thing is, I don't want to see Bizarro in a big screen movie.
I don't. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. All right, what's next?
Next, Federico Jordan. Gone are the days where I could write in 4 super chats. LOL. Thanks a lot, Campea, for the best damn movie related show on this planet.
I mean, it used to be that we could have the super chats open for a long time and people could get in whatever their thoughts. But the reality is I mean, thank goodness for you guys and thank you for making it so successful. But we are only able to keep the super chats open for a few minutes now. So you got to be able to get your thoughts in quickly. But thank you for the kind words, man. I really appreciate that. We appreciate your support. And we're so glad that you're here and part of the community. All right, what's next?
Next, Mans. Hey guys, what's your favorite moment from In Burgers?
In Bruges.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
if you look at that quickly, it'll look like In Burgers.
You guys.
The cheese.
God, I
don't know if I have a single moment.
I don't know either. Like the thing is that movie, it almost has a little bit of a Guy Ritchie pacing to it, right? It's got a little bit of a Guy Ritchie feel to it. And as a result of that, there are so many moments in the film. So I don't know that I can pick one off the top of my head.
I can loan it to you in 4K if you want to watch it again.
I actually got it in my I actually have it in my digital library.
All
So,
right. Okay.
so I'm good on that. I'm good on that. All right, what's next?
Bond. I have tickets to see the Banshees of Inisherin on opening night this Thursday. I'm super stoked. McDonough always delivers.
He always delivers. I still think one of the biggest head-scratching moments in the Oscars ever is when Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, I think wins Best Picture. I think it won Best Picture. It was at least nominated for Best Picture. 3 of his actors in that movie were nominated for Oscars. 2 of them won acting nominations. So let me get this straight. The director's number one job is to get the best performance possible out of your actors and to make the best overall movie. Your movie wins Best Picture. Again, Taylor, fact check me on that if Three Billboards won Best Picture that year. I can't remember exactly. But it wins Best Picture. 2 of your performers win acting things, and you don't?
It did win.
It did win. Check to see if I'm not even sure McDonough got nominated for Best Director that year.
Yeah, I don't know if he did.
And he should have won. Like when you deliver Best Picture of the Year and you deliver performances out of your actors that win 2 Oscars, how do you not win? And I'm not even 100% sure he even got nominated. So Taylor, look that up and let me know.
He did not get nominated.
Yeah, it's crazy. That to me is other than Ben Affleck not getting nominated for Argo for Best Director.
But you know what's funny though? It also shows both of those instances shows that there's an inherent bias. Ben Affleck was never going to get a nomination for Best Director because he's the guy that was in Gigli.
Okay, but here's why
or
that
wrongly.
doesn't make sense. Here's why that doesn't make sense. You understand how the voting process works at the Oscars. So who votes on who gets nominated? You know.
Well, the DGA, the directors.
Right. Who won Best Director at the DGA that year? So this is the part that's really confusing about the Ben Affleck one. So Ben Affleck at the Directors Guild of America, the DGAs, that's the second most prestigious directing award you can get. The Directors Guild, the directors of the Directors Guild, voted Ben Affleck as Best Director of the Year at the DGAs. So now those same directors who are part of the directors branch of the Academy, and it's the directors branch who put together the list of nominees and vote on the nominees. And then once the nominees are done, then it goes to the whole Academy to vote for a winner. It's those same directors who put together the nomination list. And even those directors just gave him Best Director of the Year at the DGAs. They didn't even nominate him at the Oscars.
But I
That
think that's because you have the older voting body of the Academy, that the older directors that aren't necessarily active in the DGA, because the DGA's got a lot of first ADs and it's got people that are working today in it, whereas the Academy has a lot of people that have aged out of working, and I think there was an inherent prejudice against giving that Oscar to Ben Affleck.
I mean, I don't like making up excuses for why other people voted certain ways or whatever, but I mean, it is a head scratcher.
It is. I agree.
That one was a head scratcher. So was McDonough. Anyway, all right, what's next?
See what you've done, Bond Presents.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
Mike Hill, do you think Superman will fight Black Adam for first, or Shazam, or even a team up? I'm very interested to see how this develops.
You know, it's funny because in all of The Rock's musings about this, I never hear him mention Shazam. He only ever really talks about Superman.
I think he did mention Shazam in the last day or two. But he's been doing so much press. I mean, he dressed up as a little girl on Jimmy Fallon, or on, it was Jimmy Fallon. It was pretty. He did a sketch with Fallon about doing promos for various markets.
Yes, I saw
It was pretty funny.
bit of that. Listen, so what I think looks pretty. Look, what should happen is he should first fight Shazam. But if he then loses to Shazam, how do you set up a fight with him and Superman? Right? It kind of takes the thunder away from that. So I don't know if you're going to end up seeing. I don't think you can have Shazam and Superman teaming up against Black Adam because I think Superman's going to be able to deal with Black Adam on his own. I mean, even The Rock said, yeah, Black Adam's the most powerful force on the planet. Superman's the most powerful force in the universe. So I don't know. It seems like Dwayne Johnson's designs are for Superman. So while it should be Shazam first, I think it's going to be Superman first. What do you think?
But if you went the Kingdom Come route, you could have poor Superman or poor Shazam go a little off the rails. And Superman has to go get Shazam, and Black Adam could be like, no, you have to leave him to me. And Superman's like, no, I think I need to take care of this. They could do something. I'm not saying they're going to make a Kingdom Come movie, but there's a template there.
There are themes you can take.
Yeah, there are themes, especially with Shazam and Black Adam. It'd be very interesting to see where they'd take that. Could be cool.
What's next?
Next, Connor. They are making a sequel to Twister 1996.
They are.
Called
Oh my
Twisters.
It's called Twisters.
It's called Twisters.
They should have
And
called
I
it
heard they're bringing back
Helen
Mad
Hunt.
About You. Helen Hunt?
Yeah.
Hunt, yeah.
That they're going to bring her back. Obviously, they can't bring back
Bill
Paxton.
Bill Paxton,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, I loved him in that movie.
I mean, they really,
too.
I'll tell you something, in a way, like, when you first think about this, it's kind of a dumb idea, like really. But if you think about what global warming is doing and how there's more twisters than there were before, that there's a danger level that's accelerating because of our atmosphere, there's actually a legitimate reason that they can make to do this film. They can actually have an interesting message and cause lots of cool destruction.
Now, like in any sequel, you need to up the stakes.
Yeah.
Right? So what if they're like, we've identified the formation of this really dangerous hurricane. Reports are indicating that there may be sharks in the tornado. And
If only there
the
was
only
a
person
studio
who can
that
do
could put
this is
that out.
Helen Hunt. We need Helen Hunt back.
You know what? I would pay for that.
And then Ian Ziering teams up with her.
Ian
Yeah.
Ziering comes in
Yeah.
to say,
They
there we
should call
go.
this Two Twister Too Fast.
Too fast.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Seconds from disaster. Rainey's busting in but respecting rules of engagement and sparing their lives was so intense. And Rhaenyra did say she would turn on Dragon back.
I mean, again, that final scene, it's, and now that's kind of a spoiler, but it's been a couple of days you've had to watch the show. That Rhaenys entrance in, I don't know what the name of the building is. I can't remember the name of the building, but where they held the big ceremony.
Dragon Keep or whatever.
It was unbelievable. Just the way she came in like a rock star and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly didn't know for sure when the dragon busts in, because you couldn't really clearly see the dragon at first. I'm like, is this Rhaenyra popping up in there, or is this Rhaenys having just got her dragons? Either would be awesome. And it was Rhaenys, and just stare them down and let them very well know that, hey, I could have just killed you right now. And I'm not, because I'm bigger than you. And then, that scene was so good.
Oh, it was great. It's the Dragon Parking Garage is what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, I like
The
that.
underground Dragon Parking
Park the
Garage.
dragons in the
Damn it,
same
where did I
Dragon
leave
parking
mine?
garage.
Beep, beep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't find mine.
Because, we saw it. You go down that
Yep.
thing, and they're all underneath there. They bring all the poppers out, and they're
The dragon
Solar power.
meters.
The dragon meters. All right, what's next?
Next, James Argenta. I think adding K2S0 in season 2 of Andor will help Andor by adding humor to a gloom show.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember saying for a long time going into Andor season 1 that I thought it was a tremendous mistake that you weren't going to have K2SO in it, because K2SO, voiced by the great Alan Tudyk, is just, I remember when we went back to watch Rogue One in the theaters again when it was re-released shortly ago, like I forgot how hilarious K2SO is and how much heart that K2 brings to the whole thing. And I thought, this is a mistake. Once I started watching Andor, I'm like, yep, nope, that was the right decision not to have him in season 1, because that would totally disrupt what this is. And they're going to bring him in season
And
2.
plus, getting him would be a big deal. He's an
Yes.
Imperial droid. So I'm sure there's a great story to be told about how they teamed up or how he was acquired or made his own droid.
Yeah, that's going to
Liberated.
come along.
He was liberated. from
Some
the Empire.
people are speculating that that little garbage can droid that belongs to his mom, that he's going to somehow take that thing and put it in K2SO.
I
That's
love
going to
that
be the
idea.
reprogramming.
I love that idea.
I mean, so I don't know. We'll see how they go about it. All right, what's next?
Angel, when you go to the to the theater, where do you like to sit?
It all depends on what theater.
Yeah.
So like if I'm in an IMAX, I'll be honest with you, less than half the seats in an IMAX theater are good seats. Because I really think there's a very small gold spot that you got to sit in that usually it's like the last to the third last row, somewhere centered. So it's anywhere else, and it's a little bit of a more odd viewing experience. For a normal movie theater, in the AMC's, it's structured like this. You've got your very front section of seating, then you have your kind of further, your main body of seating, and then a walkway, right? My favorite place to sit in an AMC regular theater is at the very first row of the back section, where it's just the handrail bars in front of you and nothing but leg space in front. Because I like to stretch my legs out, put my legs up on the thing. Doesn't block anybody else's view. That's important. So that's my main thing there. In an AMC Prime theater, there ain't a bad seat in the house. Like every seat in an AMC Prime theater seat. So I can sit anywhere there. That's fine. So IMAX, back middle, regular theater, front of the back section, right where the handrails are in front of you, and a Prime theater, anywhere is good. You got a favorite place to go to sit?
Well, just like you said, it depends on the theater. Like I go to the Chinese theater, the Chinese IMAX, the main auditorium.
Right.
I like to sit in the center of the rows M, N, or O. Those are my favorite seats.
That's your
and that's
peak
basically
spot.
at eye level. You're looking directly at the center of that screen.
Yeah, because at the IMAX at the City Walk, Universal City Walk in Los Angeles,
wanna go up higher.
You got to go up higher.
Yep.
Yeah, to get that dead level.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, and the funny thing is, at the Cinerama Dome, I love to sit at the first row of that the middle tier.
I know the one you're talking about. Yep.
M.
We're
That's also
spot
row M,
on,
N,
Rob.
and O.
Spot on, because that is true. M and N at ArcLight was always my row.
Yep.
And that first row of the riser, same idea as John. You have your feet up on the rail,
Yep.
but you're way above.
And of course, all that information is useless because the Cinerama Dome is closed.
Right, but
For now.
the word is it's going to be opening again soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next in 2023,
It's
maybe.
2023 is close. All right, what's
Not
next?
Close enough.
Rafael Castillo, Megan trailer, creepy. I thought we were having a conversation, creepy. Her dancing down the hallway, creepy. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's funny because I did not like the preview
Right.
that we saw at CinemaCon of Megan. And there's a bunch of the same stuff that is in this trailer, but it's a different trailer. And it honestly hit me much better than the other one. I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing it. And you know what? We were just at Universal Studios at Universal Hollywood Horror Nights. Great time. Yeah, I highly recommend people go. If you go, save up your extra pennies and buy the express pass. It's $200 extra bucks, but you'll be so glad that you did it. So save up for it. But they were marketing that Megan movie everywhere. It was crazy.
You know, that movie does look actually pretty good in the climate of horror that's making a lot of money. It looks like it delivers. But here's the thing, John. Within that universe, if you're the developer of that Megan robot, how do you not know that creepy as F robot is going to go off the rails? I mean, why do inventors create things and make them look like that? You just know she's going to be a killer robot.
Well, same thing if you ask about the guys who made Skynet. Got to be careful.
I mean, but you know
And
what?
the Chucky movie, remember in the Chucky movie, it ended up that was voiced by Mark Hamill. It was a little robot.
Yeah, I know. But Megan, man, I would never let that thing in my house.
Yeah,
I'm already
Yeah,
scared
no,
of it.
that thing's that nothing like that has ever come.
Never,
into my house.
ever, ever.
All right, what's next?
Next, Al Renshaw. One of the issues I see with Andor is similar to Snake Eyes. He isn't exactly the most likable guy, and especially after his recent kill in cold blood.
But though the big difference is where Snake Eyes is just a straight asshole, and Storm Shadow was literally the good guy of the movie, which is weird. Like this one is, Andor's a guy who's lived on the edge. He's got all kind of stuff, but he's a man of his word. He honors everything he says he's going to do. And at the end, he killed that dude because that dude was trying to turn in and was going to abandon that girl and take away the prize for the rebellion that the rebellion needs to try to bring freedom to the universe. He did what he had to do. So I disagree with you. I don't think that's anything like Snake.
And by the way, if you watch your classic Star Wars, when Han says, "Over my dead body," and Greedo says, "That's the idea," that's the door that Greedo opened to have himself fried.
Yes.
He threatened Han Solo's life, and basically that guy was making Andor a deal. Was he going to go kill everybody and then take the prize? I mean, he opened the door. That guy can no longer be trusted, and in this situation, you can't allow somebody You can't risk it.
No, that literally the rebellion needed it. That girl, he had made a promise that he was going to do his job. He was going to do, and that meant that guy became an obvious threat to the mission, and he
Yep.
had to kill the dude.
Yep.
All right, what's
That's
next?
life.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, it's sort of like in Narcos. It's like, well, the CIA aren't necessarily the good guys, right? Either, because they're doing a lot of they're just doing what they're trying to do to stop these guys.
All right, what's next?
Jonah, have you seen Samaritan yet? I watched it and it was just no bueno. Cool to see old man Rocky wreck some fools, though. I agree.
You know what? This is one of those things where they showed us the big preview for it at CinemaCon. And then when they made the announcement that it was just going to Amazon Prime, it's like, oh, well, that's never a good sign. When they pulled it from theatrical and say, like, that was just basically saying, our movie's not good enough. People aren't going to go see it. We're just going to dump it on streaming. And so I got really disappointed because I was very excited by what I saw at CinemaCon. And when I get really excited about a movie and then hear terrible things about it, I lose my enthusiasm for seeing it. And so I've never even bothered to watch Samaritan. And you know what? One of these days I will, because I do think it looked good, but everyone I know who has seen it has said exactly what you said, no bueno. I mean, so I've been hesitant to see it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Joaquin, how much impact did Nolan have on Man of Steel?
Next to none. Next to none. I know there's all these urban myths and legends. Oh, but no, he's got an executive producer credit. Yeah, he didn't do anything. Oh, no, he was consulted and blah, blah. He may have had a conversation or two with somebody. Look, in real practical terms, as much as I would love to talk about how Christopher Nolan was also heavily involved in the most underrated comic book film of all time, the reality is he didn't have a lot. He really did. All right, what's next?
Executive producer oftentimes means very little.
Yeah, very, very little.
Cincinnati's 5-star barber. Okay. Hey, John, good Canadian kid and Major League Baseball MVP Joey Votto said stop hating on the great sport if baseball, especially when today's basketball is trash.
I mean, I don't look, all the other sports can do whatever you want. Hockey is God. I mean, so I don't really care. Baseball's not a real sport. Yeah, and baseball's a fun, interesting little game. Love that little game you guys play. But yeah, so there you go. Cheers. I know that's not going to win me any fans in Los Angeles, but I mean, it is what it is. I just don't see it. Look, and it's a game of great skill, like darts or curling. Like curling's big in Canada. Don't even get me going if curling's a sport. Curling ain't a
Hot dog
sport.
eating contest? That thing.
Curling is a game. It's a great game, but it's not a sport any more than poker is a sport. Poker is not a sport. I don't care if they play it on ESPN. It's a game. So yeah, that's my thing on that. All right, what's next?
Victor saw Glass Onion, really enjoyed it. Aldi recommended the menu when it comes out.
The menu.
I can't wait.
I am so stoked for the menu. First of all, the greatest actor in the world without an Oscar on his mantle, Ralph Fiennes, starring in that thing. The premise looks creepy as hell. The rest of the supporting cast looks great. I cannot wait to see it. But Glass Onion, how did you see Glass Onion?
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Knives Out, for those of you who don't know, Knives Out 2 is what Glass Onion is. I cannot wait. I love the first Glass Onion. The first Knives Out, I should say. Cannot wait. Very excited, and I'm very stoked for the menu. All right, what's next?
Seconds from Disaster. I haven't seen any Game of
Thrones.
Yeah, at all, but I love House of the Dragon. I think it did a fine job jumping into the lore. I didn't need the world building to understand what's happening.
Well, I mean, the
This is
thing
part of the
about
world
House of the
building.
Dragon is it didn't need to do any of the world building. The
prequel.
world building been done. Like Game of Thrones, when we go into Westeros in that opening scene of the dragon flying over Westeros, and we instantly recognize all the buildings and the worlds, we knew it all because we were there already. And it's new characters, some new themes, but the game is still the game. The Game of Thrones is still the Game of Thrones. And so it had that advantage, but it took advantage of that leg up very, very well. I mean, some lesser storytellers could have jumped in there and tried to rehash a lot of things. They didn't. They just said, you know what? Let's assume the audience know where we are and what we're doing. Now let's move forward and just tell this story. And it just does it on such a great level.
I'm curious to know when people do watch it in this order, how it informs Game of Thrones when they watch it next, if they do.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
that's interesting. That's an interesting question.
All right, what's next?
Matthew, I really hate it. MOS. I believe they will fix the problems and make it great. I'm popping and opening these beers just for John. Cheers.
Yeah, I still, to this day, I recognize and acknowledge Man of Steel wasn't for everybody. It was an incredibly divisive film. A lot of people didn't like it and still don't like it to this day. And if it didn't work for you, totally good. We're all still fans together. But that doesn't mean I get it, because that movie is fucking brilliant. I love that. I like the, I notice and recognize the genius in it more and more every time I watch it. I still remember John Schnepp. I remember he had watched the movie. He thought it was fine. He thought Man of Steel was fine. And then when we sat down to do our live commentary, I think it was me, Harloff, Schnepp, and I think Ellis. We sat, or it might have been Dennis. Anyway, but Schnepp was there, and we did our live viewing commentary of Man of Steel. And I remember him going, that was way better than I remember it. Like, it's just one of those movies where as you watch it more, you realize, oh my God, it's so good.
I love it too. I think it has two missteps that a lot of people can't get past. One is the death of Jonathan Kent, and two is the final battle where everyone's worried about Superman not saving people. And I'm like, how can he? The thing is, I've gone back and forth with people about the end of this movie. The man literally saved 6 billion people from extinction. So there was collateral damage. What else is he supposed to do? I mean, there's a world engine on the other side of the planet that he stops. Then he has to fight Zod over the skies of Metropolis, and he's being thrown through buildings. People are going to get hurt and die, and it's not his fault, and there's nothing he can do. And if he doesn't do anything, they're all going to die. And people are always like, well, he kills and there's collateral damage. I'm like, come on, man, get your head out of your ass. This was an extinction level event that he literally protects 6 billion people.
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now too, I think the Jonathan Kent death scene, I actually think is brilliant. Because like I think a lot of people miss the point of that scene, because everybody's like, well, you could easily have run out there and saved him. Yeah, but you're missing the point. They had just had this deep conversation about like what his role in the world is, right? And they did a lot of stuff in that movie to point out that Jonathan Kent had this conversation with him several times, that the world is not ready for you. And you are not ready for the world's reaction to you. It's not time. It could be disastrous for you. It could be disastrous for the world. And that last moment when Jonathan Kent knew he was about to die and Clark was going to make his move and Jonathan Kent held up his hand, that was the moment that Kal-El Clark had to choose whether he trusted his dad or not, whether he trusted his father. And in that moment, he chose to trust the wisdom of his father. As much as it pained him, as much as it cost his dad his life, as much as it caused him and his mother pain, he made the choice in that moment that I trust him. And he's telling me to keep my ass right here. And to me, that is a gorgeous scene. And, I get it. A lot of people say, oh, he ended up dying for a dog. It's like, I get it. I get that. But the point of that whole scene was that Kal-El finally, with all the bickering and fighting with his dad, at that moment, he grasped and understood and trusted everything that his father had taught him his whole life about who he was, about whether the world was ready to find out about him or not. And I just think it's a beautiful scene. I really do. But I get it. A lot of people don't like it, and that's fine. All right, what's next?
Next, Cutter Hale. Super excited for Creed 3. With the release date of March 3rd, it's opening up against Dungeons & Dragons. What takes number one that weekend? Bring on the filthy.
Dungeons & Dragons is going to take number one that weekend. I'm not saying Dungeons & Dragons is going to be the better movie.
Right.
But do me a favor, Taylor, look up the opening weekend box office for both Creed 1 and Creed 2. Spoiler alert. They're not as high as you think. Right? While these movies are really good, but the first one is great, they weren't blockbusters, right? They didn't come out of the gate firing like crazy and all that. So, Taylor, what do we got there for the opening weekend numbers?
Sorry, it's still low.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. The first Creed opening 29 million.
29 million, which is less than Halloween Ends.
I mean, it didn't cost very much, but yeah.
Yeah, it didn't cost, but now that it Halloween Ends. But 29 million. And then what did Creed 2?
35, and that's domestic only.
Okay, so 35 and 29. So, and I don't think the second one was as good as the first one. It's been a few years. You're not able to advertise Sylvester Stallone being in this one, who everybody recognizes as Rocky. I think an optimistic number for Creed 3's opening is 40 to 45. I think that's an optimistic number. It could very well be lower than that. So the question becomes, can Dungeons and Dragons beat, let's go to the high. Can it beat 45? I think it can. Depending on how good the next couple of trailers are, I think it can beat 45. I'm not saying it will, but my guess is that Dungeons and Dragons will be the number one film that weekend. I don't know, Rob, what do you think?
I think Dungeons and Dragons is absolutely going to be number one, but that doesn't mean that Creed 3 can't do well.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to do
You know,
well.
I could see Dungeons and Dragons doing like 85 million. I think it could be a huge.
Oh, man, I don't know if I see it being that big.
It depends
That'd
how
be great.
good. I think it could be a big movie. You know, maybe somewhere between 65 and 85.
Yeah, I just
85
remember,
at the high end.
I remember having a conversation with somebody. I can't remember if it was on the show or not. Quite a while ago. And we said, "How much do you remember Creed making opening weekend?" That's 110, 120. It was in the 20s. How much do you think Creed 2 made? 80, 90? It's in the 30s. I mean, it's just not as big of a franchise as people think it might be. And now it's been a few years. Sylvester Stallone's not it. It's again, but I think a solid opening of 40 to 45 is within the realm of
Well,
possibility.
because Sylvester Stallone isn't in it, maybe it'll be the Tokyo Drift of the franchise.
See, most people understand that not to be a good thing.
I love
You
the
see,
drift.
that's your favorite one.
love the
right?
drift.
Drift rules.
Loves the drift. All right, what's next?
Barracuda.
Cutter Hale. Well, nope, just read that one. All right, Tolkien. Bro, if the Earth is third planet from the sun, does that mean every country is a third world country?
From the sun.
You know what? There's at least a little education in there.
That was pretty good.
There's at least
kind of funny.
at least a little bit of know your world sort of stuff. All right, is that it?
Yeah.
All right, guys. That'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in your super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. So, for everybody in the room, we got Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Over there, having joined you guys in the live chat, we've got Ray Ora. Right beside him, producer Jonathan Voico, and Taylor right behind him. And of course, making her first day's appearance on here, Kaylee Robinson. My name's John Campea, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Don't forget to come back and join me and Rob at 3 o'clock today for our open mic. And until then, my friends, bye-bye.